Hopefully everything works. Hey, everybody. Sorry that we're so late.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of updating my Windows 10 to the 2004 update, and then when I mean everything was fine until SmokeMonster called me on Skype or on Discord, and I was getting no audio from him.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. Especially, it's usually either just before you start streaming or the second you start streaming.
Yep.
That your audio woes start.
So Try isn't joining us tonight because he's been having severe internet problems. He was having them last week, but it's been getting worse and worse. He thought if he just got some new equipment, like replacement from his provider, then his modem or whatever modem and router, that everything would be fine. But it turns out if he does any sort of large upload, his internet just quits for 30 minutes. So he has to wait for a technician to come and fix that, hopefully early this week, maybe tomorrow. And in the meantime...
Yeah, hopefully it's up and running.
Yeah. And in the meantime, SmokeMonster was kind enough to join me for a random MiSTer FPGA stream.
Hey, I'm always down for a random MiSTer stream.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. And
yeah, definitely.
And I think I'm just gonna get started because I guess we got into this a little bit late. I'm gonna use
That it went away when you switched scenes, so maybe do you have NDI audio on the other scene too?
Okay, so do you have it now? Yes or no? I guess we have to wait till choppy audio. It's better now. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, that's a good sign.
Okay, so it's got to be something with my other scene. Hang on, I'm gonna switch over and see if I can fix it. doing this. Okay, so I should be back now. Unless it's... When I switch to the scene, it doesn't make any sense.
They can just watch your reaction to playing the game.
Now audio is fine now.
This is fun.
I know. I mean everything.
That's a weird one.
It is. It is. Let me see if it has anything to do with this. I'm gonna see what happens.
How's that?
Oh, hang on. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not done yet. Anything now? I mean, I'm showing. Now it's fixed. Now it's fixed. You got. You can hear me. Audio's back. Okay.
Cool. Sweet.
What?
Well done.
I guess this is what we get for missing a week last week.
Yeah. This is what you get for updating.
Yeah.
I guess. I updated too, though, so maybe it's both of us. Who knows? Still choppy.
It's back, but choppy. I don't know. And the only other thing I can think of that could be is maybe it's some sort of filter. Oh, man, the filter I have on here, the noise suppression. Let me see if I remove that. If I delete this and this does anything. How about now? Let's see if it's choppy now.
Is this okay?
Yes. I mean, I turned off the noise suppression. Audio's choppy. Same. Okay. All right. I guess I'll stop it and restart it. Let's see what happens. This is ridiculous. All right. Let's see.
Oh, you're able to restart quick.
Let's see if it has anything to do with it. Restart seems to fix it. Is it good? Now it's 144p. It should be sending that.
I'm getting it. It switched to 144 and then it's back now to HD here.
I'm really, really sorry, everybody.
Nah. This is how it works when you go live.
Yeah, but I mean,
these things are out of our control.
Okay. We're just gonna stay in here. If anybody has anything they want me to play, I'll play it.
Call it out.
This is. I'm gonna start with UN Squadron. So people are saying that my levels were low before. Is the sound okay now? I mean, my levels are showing okay. I can boost it though.
Everybody keeps saying it's perfect, but
okay. All right.
So this core is pretty cool. If people don't know, it's by Jotego, and he's done a really good job of going for kind of hardware perfection with his work, using what I call the hardcore approach, where he has the actual. Whenever he's working on MiSTer hardware description language, HDL, he's working from real hardware, and he's sort of logic probing it and doing side-by-side comparison and trying to get it really perfect, which is cool. And this one, when it dropped CPS1, it was huge. I mean, everybody was waiting for this.
Yeah, I mean, this was a big one for me. Like, I really wanted this one. Because I think in a lot of ways, CPS1 is more interesting than CPS2. Just in the games that are available on it.
Mm-hmm. It's, for me, it's like I gave up. I was going to do a CPS1 multi, like that was announced years ago. And so I'd gotten Street Fighter 2 World Warrior PCB, and I had nothing but problems with it. And I ended up selling that, and I was just like, I guess I just won't have CPS1. And then it was announced on MiSTer, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Just because it's one that I wasn't going to do a multi for at all.
And not only that, I feel like it was really something that kickstarted interest in doing a lot of these bigger arcade cores.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sort of the first really. I mean, I guess Neo Geo 2, just really way more powerful than what we had before. We were kind of in the. It pulled us out of the golden age, really, on MiSTer.
Yeah.
Arcade games. And these are little powerhouses, compared to Super Nintendos and Genesis and things like that, consoles. These arcade platforms they're real monsters, which is cool.
Yeah, and it just really opens up so many possibilities. I mean, in a lot of ways, I think the arcade stuff is the most exciting stuff. Like, most exciting, there's the most potential there, I guess, for the MiSTer.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's stuff where, I mean, really, this stuff, a lot of it especially, you just won't see it in reality, unless you're traveling out to Galloping Ghost or going to some museum or something. Right. Getting real perfect examples of it in your home is just really cool.
Yeah. And I mean, something like this, like I never played the arcade version of UN Squadron before this.
Me either. Yeah, just the Super Nintendo version is what I always knew.
Yeah, which is an excellent game. And probably in some ways better than this. I mean, I'm sure that's something that people would agree with, but it's still really cool to play this version because I didn't really even think of it as an arcade game for the longest time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really cool to see where the ports come from.
Right.
For games, and to see how they're tweaked, and yeah, like you said, I mean, like I sort of see, like for Turtles, for example, which we'll probably have a core for eventually, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And Turtles in Time. I feel like you have to play all of the console versions and the arcade game in order to get the real full game experience.
Yeah.
You've got the source material, and then you've got how they've refined it and added to it for the home platform, but at the cost of graphics usually.
Right.
In almost every case. Until you get up into like Sega Saturn era where you start to get really, higher quality arcade ports. Not higher quality, but they have the hardware in hand to get them into the home.
I mean, when it comes to arcade, I think the thing that I'm most excited for is Sega System 16.
Yeah, that'll be a cool one. Somebody's working on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it Mr. X? Is that right? I just looked this up when you mentioned it recently.
I was just talking to Undamned about it. Because he was telling me about how the MiSTer has made it so that he's, like, willing to let go of a lot of his stuff. Like, he's starting to consider it.
I am too, yeah. Like I said that when MiSTer was new, I was like, this is going to really allow me to... Because I have way too many arcade games. Like, you're just starting out on arcade stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm way beyond, like, where I need to be. I want to get down to a safe zone again. And, like, when MiSTer covers something, it's the perfect excuse for me to sell. Like, Double Dragon, for example. Mm-hmm. The second that core was ready... Actually, when the beta first came out, like, I sold my Double Dragon. Not because I don't like it. I do sort of like it. It's just like I don't like it enough to justify having that gigantic PCB that's worth a lot of money, when I can just flip on MiSTer anyways.
Yes, exactly. I was just over at a friend's house who had a Double Dragon, and he was telling me about how the Double Dragon prices have gone up a lot lately.
Oh, yeah. I bought it broken for $40, and it wasn't actually broken. It just they didn't know it needed -5 volt.
Right.
And I flipped it for like $200. So that was 3 or 4 years difference.
Yeah.
I recapped it and really went over it though, so they got a good value. But yeah,
he had mentioned that the price went up when you started telling people about the -5 volt thing. A lot of these people. That's a good trick. There's several arcade games. Actually, any arcade game that needs -5 volt, you can get steals on eBay. That is a trick. That's how I got Primal Rage, Time Killers, Double Dragon. All of them were that same issue because they'll say, like Time Killers, you can look at the symptoms online of like what does -5 volt do if you're missing it on Time Killers. Well, I think you get like flickery audio flickery video and no audio. Well, if you find one on eBay with that as the symptoms, you just know that it's probably working, and they just didn't know it needed -12 volt or -5 volt or whatever it was. -5 volt, yeah. This is the first one I played on on CPS1. Because Ghouls and Ghosts, the Genesis version is probably my favorite game on the system, and I really like the arcade version as well. But it's
yeah. I was a little when I got my TurboGrafx, I was a little disappointed because I was like expecting it to be the greatest game ever, and then I just kind of liked the Genesis version a little bit better still.
yeah.
I kind of wanted to justify that.
Yeah, I hear that because it was. I remember a lot of magazines always saying that the TurboGrafx version is going to be arcade perfect and it's going to be amazing, but really it's better in some ways than the Genesis version. But I think the Genesis version is just more fun to play.
Mm-hmm. And we're so used to it.
Yes. Yeah.
But this is an expensive game too, so this is a cool one to have on MiSTer.
Yeah, I know that Joe Redifer has a PCB of this, and I've always been very envious of that.
He's pretty good at it too, to say the least. He can just like turn on a live stream and like 1cc it pretty much.
Yeah, I can blow through the Genesis version pretty easily, but the arcade version is a different beast.
Yeah, I did a video on this when I was doing my MiSTer series, and just to get good footage of me, like where I need like a minute of gameplay without me just being horrible, I spent hours on it. You just gotta get back into the swing of it and memorize the level layouts and everything.
Yeah,
that was a tricky one though.
Yeah, I think this one is more difficult than Super Ghouls and Ghosts personally. Out of all of them, I think this is probably the easiest one.
Oh, that's good to know.
At least the Genesis version. The Genesis version also has unlimited continues, and unlimited continues on Genesis games is not something that a lot of them have, believe it or not.
Yeah, most of them you get 3 credits or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have guts though. Like I don't know if I would stream a game like this. I'm just not that good at it. I usually go for the lower hanging fruit.
Well, I'm just kind of winging it. I didn't really have a list. I know that when I was on your stream a couple months ago, you had like a whole list of things that you wanted to hit. And
yeah, I have to map things out because I'm usually by myself.
Right.
So I just got in the habit of like mapping out a little bit of a map for my streams when I do it. You and Try, and did you mention that Try is having? Oh yeah, you said that, or did people hear that?
Well, people are they might have. I might have not had any audio at that point. Try is having internet issues, and he will be back next week, as long as everything gets fixed. If he does any sort of like big upload or anything like that, his internet just dies for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, not ideal for streaming.
Yeah,
because it's a big upload. They're saying your audio is still a little low.
I can bring it up a little bit. I'll have to spend some time this week fixing this up.
I saw Jotego just mention to his patrons that did he finish Q-Sound or he's working on Q-Sound right now?
He's definitely working on it. And he just didn't he just release like a Bubble Bobble and stuff?
Yeah.
It's what's so cool about what he does is he'll just like randomly drop these random things you didn't even know he was working on. I remember you said something about how you wish that he would do Contra, and he's like, okay, I'll just do it. And he's like started working on it that week.
Yeah, he took it as like a weekend challenge. I told him to cool down because he was like, I could tell he was going to try to do it in one weekend. And I was like, nobody cares if you get it done by the end of the weekend. But he had it from nothing to like, he had the test screen showing and everything in 3 days.
That's crazy.
And I guess he does this stuff like, I don't know, he mapped, I forgot which game it was. He did one just by looking at the schematic, and like when he was traveling by plane, he just kind of mapped it out by hand. So yeah, these people are they're on another level. Yeah. They're coders, but they're dealing with hardware. It's crazy to wrap your mind around. Oh, you had a $5 come in while we were having audio issues.
Oh,
where did that go? Let me try to find that.
And scroll up. I know there's a $5 from Venecera. Like they happened before. everything as soon as we went live. I can.
And then WRN Hokey just did a $2 super chat and asked, "Can the MiSTer play Simpsons arcade game?" It can't right now, but R&D MKN is working on a Konami core that's going to be tailored to Aliens, the arcade game, to begin with. But that's the platform that Simpsons and Turtles are on, so somebody could adapt that one day. Although his plans are just Aliens to begin with.
Which is a very underappreciated game, I think. It's one of those kind of a forgotten game.
I've got the PCB of that. It's a good one. It's like a cool beat 'em up. Yeah, you're right. It's very underappreciated. I'm like, if people like Simpsons and Turtles, they'll love it.
Yeah.
And
only 2 players though, compared to those.
Yeah.
But that's
the Konami games, they are all very similar, but they're all just different enough to make it a huge headache. So it's not like you'll have Aliens done and just be able to plug the Turtles ROMs into it or whatever. They all have custom chips. That's why they weren't really bootlegged so much, those Konami games. It's kind of...
But I mean, hopefully along with that, maybe we'll see Sunset Riders.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sunset Riders, which I had that PCB and I sold it because I like the Super Nintendo version so much.
Oh?
Believe it or not.
That was one where... I'm tearing through this. I never actually played this far into the arcade version. It's just I know how to... I just know how the game goes, basically. Even if it's like some differences.
Yeah, I collect Konami arcade games specifically. So Konami games, I'll just like, if I see one for a good deal, I'll buy it. And about the only ones I missed were Simpsons. Unfortunately, the train has left the station on Simpsons.
Yeah,
it's very expensive, even broken.
The guy who I was visiting yesterday, who he has a lot of the arcade stuff, and was talking about Double Dragon. He actually just got Simpsons, and it was like they thought it was broken, so he barely paid anything for it, and it was just missing a chip, and he was able to get that chip online, and
nice.
It just fired right up.
Oh, sweet. That's the dream.
Yeah.
An easy fix.
Oh, we had there's a $5 from Christopher Miller saying, "I love my MiSTer. I've been playing Metal Slug on the Neo Geo and Terra Enigma SNES lately."
Nice.
Both great games. I finally just got my MVS hooked back up. I didn't have a long enough SCART cable for my new setup, so I figured out a workaround because I just got a Universal BIOS 4.0.
Mm-hmm.
Which has that really cool, pick and mix feature.
Yeah, for the 161.
Yeah. So you don't have to fish through all the stupid hack anymore on it.
I like that so much. I wish you could just boot straight into it.
I know. I wonder if that would be possible for them to do. Or for
Rizzula
to do that.
Let's see. I just did an MVS for Mike Chi here.
Oh, yeah?
The other day. I put the Unibios 4.0, which we bought, in it.
Try to get that
this guy. And I think he said he's done with it or something. Rizzula, who makes it, I think he's retiring or something from working on the BIOS. So we would need somebody else to do that, I guess.
Yeah, but regardless, I do appreciate it. It's nice.
Yeah.
We had a $9.99 donation from DeSutin as well with no message. Thank you.
Very nice.
All right. So what should I go for next? It can be basically anything just throw some stuff out there that you think would be on here.
Hey, Owl Anonymous is here. He'll know some good games.
Oh, yeah.
What are some hidden gems on the CPS-1, Owl? He streams a lot. He's one of my favorites. He's usually on Twitch.
Well, let's see. Three Wonders is kind of cool. I'll play that for a minute. I originally played this on the Capcom Classics collection. I think I'd never played this in the arcade. I don't even know.
On Saturn?
No, on the PS2, believe it or not.
Oh.
It's like the Capcom Classics Collection, the Volume 1.
I have, yeah. I played this on Saturn. I never saw it in an arcade or anything either. Owl said Pang 3 and 3 Wonders. So you're on the correct track here.
Yeah, the shooter is... You got this thing that spins around your ship. I'll play that one.
You might want to set a custom filter.
Oh, yes. My personal favorite... Hang on, let me get out of here so I don't die here.
Yeah, you've got to do that for every game, don't you?
Yeah, but that's fine. I just do the sharp interpolation.
Yeah, that's mine too. My default.
I don't know how to rotate my thing, or maybe I'm mixing it up with something. I do like this game does have very good music, I recall.
It's a good looking game too.
Yeah. I mean, this seems like a later CPS1 game, but maybe I might be completely wrong.
Yeah. Oh, and we were talking about Q Sound. And speaking of later games, there's sort of there's CPS1, there's CPS0 as they call it, which are like the pre-CPS1 games that are similar, and then there's CPS 1.5, which are like CPS1 games that run at a higher, they had better processors in them. I think like 12 megahertz versus 10, something like that. And then some of them had Q Sound even. And then that
those early ones, really?
Some of the 1.5s, yeah.
Wow.
And that puts us on path to CPS2, which is a very like upgraded CPS1. So that's where he's going with that.
That's so cool. I mean, it's cool that he's just able to do these as fast as he is. He's been able to release them. Really
Shipitina asked, where does the CPS Dash fit into this? Like the CPS Dash was like a home version of the CPS1. And I think, can you load up those revisions? I'm asking the audience here. I'm not really sure. But CPS Dash, I would just assume, is on his roadmap too, if it's not there already. There were versions too, also of CPS2 games that they backported to that CPS one, and that's where you see. Isn't there a Street Fighter Alpha?
Yeah,
somebody's mentioning. Except that it has the original CPS1 audio, which is kind of cool.
Which in some ways is like might be better.
Yeah. It's got CPS1 is like FM sound. Is that right?
I am not sure.
I should know these things. I should speak.
I mean, I probably should too, but
usually I just say things.
But okay, I mean, you're probably like, you just pick up like information just from places, and sometimes it's even a miracle they even remember like
I know
any of it, you know.
It's such a mess in my brain.
Yeah. But that's kind of the situation I've been in.
Mm-hmm.
My mom used to always say, if you were as good in school, if you remembered stuff, for school as well as you do for games.
Yeah.
Not that I was like a bad student or anything, but I probably could have been a lot better.
Ace is here. He said, Q Sound is awesome coming from the CPS2 hardware. I've actually got, I've been building this for years, a Q Sound boombox. And because I have a spare Q Sound amplifier from a Big Blue cabinet, and it's basically just an amplifier. And all of the processing for Q Sound is actually done inside of the CPS2 itself. So if you pull that out, you've just got a standalone stereo amp. And my dad passed away, though. That's the problem, is he's my woodworker, so I could pass things on to him. So I started the project like 6 years ago and never got around to having him build the case for it. So I need to get in touch with a woodworker eventually to finish that off. But I was thinking of having like a Q sound amplifier for my kind of as the stereo for my setup here, and then I have speakers out of a House of the Dead presentation cabinet, which come in they have their own little like shielded metal boxes. They're kind of cool. You just had a $9.99 come in from the Afroman, who says, "Thanks, SmokeMonster, and of course Coury and Try. It's been hard explaining how amazing MiSTer is, not a Raspberry Pi, to so many people in the community."
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine it's going to be like the something you're always going to have to deal with because the Raspberry Pi just like has this mind share for a lot of people.
Yeah, and they're like the same form factor and everything. They're a little box, play games. But yeah, you can insert software emulation in place of Raspberry Pi for anything that you're comparing to MiSTer. That's really the difference. It's just completely different from the ground up in every single way possible. So there is no real comparison, except in places where they're working from software emulators, which you can work actually from software emulators and convert those into HDL and have a MiSTer version of things, which you need for things, certain things like the Game Boy Advance core has a lot of like software emulator kind of stuff they pulled in. But in general, MiSTer is a totally different kind of beast. Aaron Welsh said, "SmokeMonster, could you impersonate Tom Hanks and say like a lot? That would make you sound like Try. Love you both, guys." Wilson. I definitely can't do a Try impersonation.
Yeah, I mean, I can't either. If Joe was here, he would do his impression, but
WRN Hokey gave you another $1.
Oh, thank you.
And Eric Fleenor said, "New MiSTer owner. For console games, I'm using the recent 8-bit DOE controllers, the M30 and SM30 wired. I'd also like an arcade stick for arcade games. No idea where to start. Any advice or recommendations?" I've got one. The let's see, what's it called? The Mayflash F500 Elite or F300 Elite are they're the exact same. Remember that 8-bit DOE arcade stick?
Right,
like NES. It's that exact controller, except it has Sanwa parts in it already.
Oh, well.
And it's cheap enough that it's actually cheaper than like placing an order with Focus Attack and even buying the parts. So it's a really good deal. And they're really nice controllers, especially the F500 Elite is all metal too. Definitely worth the money. And that'll give you, though, I think, let's see, MiSTer Add-ons has been testing controllers, latency in MiSTer.
Yeah, he has this huge spreadsheet. I've seen him
and
tweeting.
And the 8-bit DOEs always do really well if you put your 1 millisecond pulling on.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I have. I'm using the M30 2.4 gigahertz version,
nice.
The USB one.
That's what I use too here, is my default kind of controller usually.
And not only that, I mean, I know that Chris from Classic Gaming Quarter likes to have different controllers for each system to make it feel more like like each individual system, which makes a lot of sense. But I just find that this controller is a really good all-around controller that will basically work. It has enough buttons to work with anything, and you can set it up to be like a pretty good even Super Nintendo controller if you just use like YZ, B, and C as like your diamond shapes.
Yeah, I'm really happy with this M30. It's like if I were designing a controller, it would probably be exactly like this, more or less. It's that perfect hybrid of Genesis and Saturn.
I mean, I wish that they would just come out with another version that just has a dongle for the Saturn. Like I would buy that and just use it as a Saturn controller. I mean, I already have like 4 of these things. I have one for the Switch. I have this one, and I have 2 for like Genesis and Mega SG, or 1 for the Mega SG and 1 for my Genesis or Master System, whatever I feel like.
Nice. I sort of go back and forth between the M30 and what's this? The SFC30. I like these older ones with the colored buttons.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And those score well. I also really like from MiSTer this NTT datapad. This was a craze for a while with MiSTer people, and like we shut up the eBay prices.
I remember you talking about that.
It's kind of perfect because all these buttons, this is a weird controller. If you use the RAFnet adapter, the RAFnet USB adapter, all these buttons are mappable. And so if you're going to be switching a lot between computer cores and things like that, these are very handy here, the center area. And then it just is like a licensed Super Nintendo controller in every other way. That's a pretty cool one. You had a few more super chats come in here. Oof. Andrew Camacho sent you 15 Canadian with no comment.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Walrus FPGA, hey, how's it going? He said, we all hit the jackpot tonight with the stream. Thanks, Coury and Smoke.
Heck yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
One of the reasons I played Double Dragon is because I thought afterwards I could go right into Double Dragon Advance, which is maybe the best Double Dragon game.
Ooh, and that's a very low bar.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, I think it's a great reimagining of the first game.
Mm-hmm. And I say that as someone who I have Double Dragon, the arcade game, and I also have 2 and 3 in various states of disrepair here, which I really want to fix and sell. The arcade boards. Yeah, I think I've never actually played this one outside of. I might have fired it up once or twice on my flash cart. Ooh, my Double Dragon comments are not sitting well with the audience.
You know, it's actually really funny. And after I finish this, I'm going to just boot up the Master System version of this. And I don't know why I thought of this or never thought of this, but if you, when you play the Master System version, the sizing of the character and the size of the background,
just like, hilariously out of whack.
Well, yeah. I mean, that car, there's like no way that the character could even like fit in the car and like reach the pedals.
I have the Atari 7800 version of Double Dragon. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Or even worse, heard that? It's a very bad port. I'll say that. I think I got a really good deal on that or something. Daniel Nicholson, $5 maybe Australian.
Oh, thank you.
Says, guys, what's your Desert Island 1 console at games? Mine's the Super Nintendo with Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I consider this the greatest home port of all time. Ooh. You would like the new Pyren.
Oh, remastered. I have not played it yet.
Remastered.
I have not played it yet. I was just watching Sega Lord X's video on it yesterday.
I'm so happy to see Pyren getting attention. You guys have covered him before, but a lot of the greater gaming world is just catching on to him now at the end of his career here.
Yeah, and he's been working on this for a long time.
Yeah, for years. So my Desert Island console it would probably change whenever you ask, but I think maybe a Sega Saturn with a mode or something.
Oh, yeah.
And my Desert Island game would have to be Dr. Mario on a Super Nintendo. Unfortunately, it's not on Sega Saturn. Just because I can just play that game forever, and it just never gets boring.
Yeah, you're super good at it. I've never been...
I'm okay. It's there's a funny meme that's out there of this sad guy who's too good to play against his friends, but not good enough to play competitively. And that's how I am with like Dr. Mario. Because I've watched like competitively playing Dr. Mario. People are crazy good. You know, like another world good. What's your Desert Island console and game?
I mean, I would probably go with the Genesis and Ghouls and Ghosts, probably. I mean, nice. I played through that game so many times at this point, and I never seem to get sick of it. So, I mean, I don't know. There's just something about it. I love it.
Yeah, I guess I could. I mean, I said Sega Saturn, but I mean, honestly, if I was on a desert island, I would need a TV and some electricity and stuff too.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't do you a lot of good. Panel de Punch, Tina mentioned. Yeah, that would be a good one too. Although I don't know if I played as much as I played Dr. Mario through the years.
Yeah, I only really discovered it thanks to Try being a big fan of like Tetris 2. Or not Tetris 2, Tetris Attack, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that? So there's Pokemon Puzzle League on the N64 is a Penalty Pawn Tetris Attack clone.
Right.
And did you see that they just found a prototype of Penalty Pawn N64, which was turned into Pokemon Puzzle League? And that was my one issue with Pokemon Puzzle League is that it's Pokemon theme instead of Penalty Pawn.
Yeah.
So I really want to check that out. That's kind of the ultimate game to me because the N64 version plays really well.
Yeah.
The same with the N64 Dr. Mario is one of my favorites too.
So you're not a big Pokemon fan. I mean, I assume that we're very close to the same age. And
yeah, it wasn't a thing.
Yep.
I never heard of it until almost college. So yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm sure that if I had played it back when it was a thing or whatever, it just didn't hit my town, I guess. I'm from a small town.
It came out when I was, Red and Blue came out in the U.S. in my first year of college. So, I mean, there was just no way that was going to be the thing that I played. And that was, I mean, maybe it was the second year of college, actually, for me. Did it come out in 98 or is it 97? It might have been.
That sounds about right, yeah.
It might have been 98. Yeah, like fall, like September of 98, I feel like it was. So it would have been my second year of college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing about it from someone I worked at in a restaurant who was younger than me gave us all a Pokemon card, and that was where it was explained to me what it was and stuff. So that was very well past when I would have been into Pokemon, I'm sure. Probably people 6 or 7 years younger than us are probably hot into it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I just had no interest. Although I said it, I have told this story before on the stream. At the very beginning of quarantine, I played through Pokemon Snap with my kids who were like way into Pokemon right now.
Where you take the pictures?
Yeah, and it was they didn't understand how to play it, but I played it, and for them it was more like a roller coaster, and they got to see like everyone who pops up, and they were. You know, they know all their names, so they would freak out whenever like anybody would come out, and it was just like the most exciting thing for them.
That's cool.
And we had an awesome time. It was like, you know, it's not a very long game, but I mean, we played through the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And probably because of that, I know that there is a sequel coming out. I don't know if it's coming out this year or when it's coming out, but I will probably buy it just because that was so much fun.
That I should check that out because one of my nephews is into Pokemon, and weirdly, it's like, does your family do this? Like, my sister didn't ask me when she was picking out the console for him, and she got him an Xbox One. These little kids, when the Switch had already come out, where the Switch was really the console they should have gotten, and so I assume he'll be getting a Switch eventually, where there's more, because like the only games they're into are like Madden and Forza. Where they're pretty little kids, you know, like 6, 8, and 10. And all the games that I would recommend to them are on the Switch, pretty much. But he's into Pokemon, and I had looked up for last Christmas. I gave him one Pokemon card. I had looked up online which one to get. I got him like a foil one, and it's like it was a good choice. He's always showing it to me and stuff. I got a little case for it.
I'm booting up this Double Dragon on the Master System really quick, just so that people could see the car size difference. I mean, I don't know what even made me think of this when I saw it, but I was dying. Recenter the screen here.
Yeah, for whatever reason, like I like Double Dragon because of the NES, and we have that connection to it, and the arcade a little bit. But it is a little shovelware nowadays. Do you feel like that? I don't know. Something about them.
Like you wouldn't even be able to see over the over the dashboard.
Yeah, that is hilarious. It's like a monster truck.
Yeah.
Thunderbird.
It's like it's the car from Road Avenger. But I saw that, I was like, that's so funny. Like he can't even drive it. He can't even reach the pedals. Those little legs.
That's great.
I got this game free. They had something where you could send away some stuff for a free Double Dragon, like from Sega.
Cool.
And I mean, I thought it was good at the time, I mean,
yeah, I didn't know any better. And on the NES, that was the one.
The NES version.
Did you play this one back in the day?
Yeah. I mean, I got this one free
was
when it was
pretty cool.
But
oh, you got it when it was new.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like a big deal, but I think the NES version is a lot better now. I mean, the NES version is not very super faithful to the arcade, but I think that makes it way more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. This would have blown me away back then. I only saw, let's see, my stepbrother had a Master System, and I thought it was like a supercomputer from the future. But he only had like 2 or 3 games. He had Choplifter and Rampage. I think that was it. And so we played the NES mostly.
Yeah. But I mean, Rampage on the Master System it's
a great one.
It's a really excellent version, yeah.
And I was obsessed with Rampage back then. I had my first internet website in the 90s. It was, me and my friend claimed it was the internet's first Rampage dedicated website. Although in retrospect, it probably wasn't. But searching has come a long way since then. It was like, I don't know, not GeoCities, before GeoCities, probably like 1994, 1995, 1995, probably 1996. It was probably like a badly written school report type website about Rampage games.
That's okay though. I mean,
I've been trying to find that one forever. I don't have the address or anything, so.
I wonder if there's any way to find that stuff. I've been spending a little bit of time using the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, that's where I try to look. I found most of my websites, and even the ones I built for businesses back in the day. I'm just missing some Fiero-related stuff and my Rampage site.
That's pretty crazy. It's crazy that even like that stuff is able to be preserved like that.
Mm-hmm. Andrew Camacho donated another $5.10 Canadian and said, do you guys think it's likely for us to someday get 32X, 3DO, and CDI at some point? They're all within the realm of possibility. It's 32X is a little trickier, I think, because of the what chip is it? Has a chip on it. I need to look on Ash here or someone. I think they're all possible. It's just whether or not we'll see them. I don't know. You'd have to find someone like Wrestling with Gaming really wants to get a CDI core for MiSTer. He even offered to pay someone to produce it,
putting a bounty on it.
But I said that's MiSTer people don't generally work for money, or maybe they would be doing getting tons of money from the aerospace industry or something instead of working on MiSTer. I think it could happen. I just don't know. And there's always like catches here and there. Yeah, SH2, thank you. GeForce Fly is the tricky part of the 32X.
I'm going to play one of my favorite Neo Geo games. I finally just got a cartridge, a Neo MVS cart of this, of Neo Drift Out, which is not something that pops up very often. It popped up on a Facebook group. And
cool.
I sent a message, and it was like right before the lockdown happened. And I bought it, and it shipped to me, and it sat in Chicago for like almost 3 months.
Oh my gosh. I had some packages like that too. Not that long though. I just check this out. So this took me about 4 months to get here from Russia. I had almost forgot I ordered it. It's like a German, gigantic, ridiculous lens. I got this when I had been watching whales here. And I started looking into like some more telephotos. That just came in. It was like getting a brick in the mail.
That's cool. I don't have any lenses that are that size.
The problem is my lenses aren't really useful for video. I collect old lenses. I features this game in my Neo Geo MiSTer video because it's so good looking.
Yes, and it's just a super fun game. And I'm not even the kind of person that really likes driving games all that much, but this one is so much fun to play.
It is.
And it's even better. It's the sequel to, is it Overtop? I think, or at least it's like the spiritual sequel to that. It's the same people made it, but I think this is a lot more fun to play.
Yeah, it's super addictive, and it gets hard.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of memorization and getting your corners really well. Music's good in it.
Yeah, it's really fun. And this is
it's a very powerful game for on MiSTer.
Oh, really?
I mean, in terms of MiSTer, what it can do, Neo Geo is usually what I say is the most powerful. Although anymore, I think the 486 core might be replacing that.
We were gonna talk about that, which is something that's pretty exciting, I think, for people that with the prevalence of retro PC gaming coming to the forefront and a lot of other ways. It's very cool to see a MiSTer like the 486 MiSTer core being worked on.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, like if you had a DOS computer back in the day, there's a FPGA core called AO486, which can handle like 286, 386, and we're even getting into like 486 territory now. So it's going to be this really, it already is. So it was an okay core, the one that's out on MiSTer right now. But FPGA's Spaz, who made MiSTer's GBA core and some other stuff, has been making it his pet project, and now Sword is on board on it. And so it's like all hands are on deck on this core. And they've got it like, it's going to be a little DOS supercomputer. I mean, it can play already TIE Fighter.
They're playing Chex Quest. I saw a picture of Chex Quest playing on it. Not that I played that as a kid or anything like that, but I just recognized it from.
Yeah, and people are like installing Windows XP on it now, and I guess Windows 95 runs really nicely. So you're talking SimCity 2000, Sim Tower is one of my favorite games. It's going to be a killer core with thousands and thousands of games.
Because retro PCs are getting more and more expensive now too, and it's just kind of a hassle, I think, to get into. I mean, I would like to get one here, but I mean, I know that's coming. That makes me less apt. That's a
funny story. Okay, so people assured me that this 486 core was way too complex to ever be usable, like maybe 3 months ago. And so I started building a retro PC, like a DOS computer. I kind of wanted one DOS computer to run them all. And like the day the motherboard got here, which had come from Ukraine, was like the day the FPGA's Spaz was like, oh, I basically doubled the processing power of the AO46. So all of a sudden it was like, it went from like 10 or 12 megahertz to like the equivalent of about like 20 or something. And now we're getting up to like, well, it's a weird way to determine it, but it's like 100 megahertz computer. But the way it is right now, there's like 3 cycles on MiSTer per 1 cycle on the computer, so it would sort of measure more like 30 megahertz. But as they are making it more efficient, it's going to come up closer and closer to that 100 megahertz level, which you're talking Doom. Those kind of games are going to be running really smoothly. Doom already runs pretty well. I think people said it's like 22 frames per second, where for the max for Doom is 35 frames. So we're coming up on really nice territory with that core. It's going to be really cool. And yeah, so I've got all my parts here for a retro computer that I'm going to build. But it's not quite as cool as when I first ordered the parts. They're building the core faster than I built this computer. It's my joke.
1 second, let me just pause this really quick.
Oh yeah, you had a couple.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up Streamlabs just so I don't lose the...
Gaming Blows gave you $2 and said, odds of an N60 core before 2022? The white whale. N64 is the big question with MiSTer. Most people think it's actually not possible. So I wouldn't hold your breath for that. Who knows though, People thought PlayStation wouldn't be possible, and there's a really good PlayStation core coming.
Which
but
is
N64
big
has some,
I mean, PS1 stuff is going to be crazy when that comes out. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening with PS1 in general right now. So that'll just be yet another thing to go on top of, the X Station and the PS1 digital. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love a PS1 Coury and MiSTer. I sold I had a PSIO. I'd bought it when it first came out, and it took like a year to get to me, which my interest in it had pretty much vanished by that point. And I just never got around to installing it. And then by the time I got back to the U.S., from Brazil and was ready to do it, they had talked about this MiSTer core. So I just sold my PSIO, and I'm like, I'll just do MiSTer for it. And then I have my real PlayStation and a handful of games that I like for it anyways. Mm-hmm. MK Iron Fist gave $2 and asked and said, Neo Geo Core got me re-addicted to Puzzle Bubble 2. Nice. I love Puzzle Bubbles. Those are addicting games.
Play Shock Troopers. Shock Troopers, I feel, is the best game on Neo Geo.
Ooh, I have that cart.
Same here. I got it thanks to Artemio. Yeah, one of his friends was able to get it, like, because a lot of the NVS carts were cheaper in Mexico. So I was able to, and you pay like more for shipping than you do for.
Oh, nice. I got my Shock Troopers broken.
Oh.
And it's one of those things I fixed. So it just needed to have, I reflowed all the chips on it and then it came back to life. So one of the chips was just bad or something, or, had a broken connection.
One of the things that I'm always super envious that you do is like how you basically recap everything like right away when you get it.
I do.
And I think that's so cool because I feel like you doing that is probably just like kind of going to your happy place. Like it's just kind of, it's very relaxing.
Yep, I do. I make some tea. I just go over there and just zone out, and it is like meditative, and it's a place where you can really because I'm not just like I'm not in a hurry either. I'll leave my relatively simple recap projects out. Like I have this whole retro computer. Every single component I'm recapping with really nice caps, and even upgrading some of the circuits on some of them with better caps. And just by piece as they come in, I just recap them. But I'm trying to like really hone my skill and get to that sort of Voltar level of perfection with everything I do. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it is very much overkill and unnecessary kind of stuff, but that's what makes it fun, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's just like it's relaxing for you to do. So it's not like, oh, I have to do this. It's not something you're forcing yourself to do. It's just because you want to do it.
Yeah. And occasionally, I mean, 1 out of 10 things you recap, you'll find a cap. You're like, I have 2 graphics cards for this computer. One of them, the caps all look perfect on it. I took them all off, and one of the SMD caps had gunk all underneath it. And it's like, that's what you do it for. And I'll test all the caps too when I'm done. And I would say 1 or 2% of them are way off spec. Mm-hmm. So there is a real benefit to doing it. And Artemio has done pretty good comparisons of recapped Sega Genesises, and you get less noise in the audio and stuff. So there are tangible benefits, but it is more of like a me time type thing.
Yeah, but that's good. I mean, just to like know how to do that and and have fun doing it. I plan on like talking about this a little bit later on this week, and I've started doing these like weekly like columns and stuff like for.
Yeah, I read your Godzilla post the other day. It was good.
I mean, it's just like something I felt would be fun to do. But I'm gonna talk about how I've been really forcing myself lately and been showing a lot of interest in just kind of learning to do things by myself, like on my own. Like whether it's just like researching and figuring out how to do stuff. I'll only say that because I figured out and did I installed 2 new power outlets in my basement here. I ran like split off lines from an outlet, or actually I cut one of them and then I put 2 outlets in there. So just like learning how to do certain things like that, stuff that I would never imagine doing.
Yeah.
And I joke about how I think quarantine, I've learned how to do a lot of like handy person's kind of stuff at home. Mm-hmm. I learned how to change, put a new toilet in.
Oh wow, that seems complex.
Well, I mean, I was just replacing a toilet. I guess I wasn't putting a whole new one in.
Still, yeah.
But it's just stuff like that.
Yeah, that's like expensive to call someone in to do it. And something that you'll notice, I'm sure now. So one weird thing, like, okay, my a family member got new under cabinet lighting in their house installed, and I was over there. I'm just looking at the wiring, and I'm like, it's kind of like they paid a lot of money for it, I think. But whoever did it, like, they weren't doing it for themselves. They were doing it to get out of there, and there's electrical tape involved.
Right.
And like where I would have soldered some things, they were just using, twisting things together, it looked like, or something. And even when I'm driving around the city, I went under a railroad crossing the other day, and I saw some really shoddy wiring on it. I'm like, this seems like it's more important than an N64, that I worked on. Where, you go in there and all of my work is really nice and articulate and everything's ran perfectly and wire wrapped. And it's like, this is a freaking train crossing,
Right.
Attention to detail, folks. You'll get that too, I'm sure, with this house stuff.
Well,
Somebody who's wiring up a whole house is in a big hurry to get it done. Whereas you just have to do 2 outlets and you're on your own schedule.
Right. Well, actually, so my wife and I's bedroom has 2 closets in it, and one of them has like a window and everything. And so it's not really even like a closet. It's more of just like a storage room, but it's like fine. And she's like set up her office and she's been working at home in there. But the problem is like she puts her she does like graphic design stuff for an ad agency. So she's like has this big like Apple monitor, and there was like no power outlets in there. So after I did the stuff in the basement, her and the kids went up to her parents for this weekend, and I ran a new line and I installed an outlet in there. Like I had to run.
Oh, that's awesome.
Some like around a corner. I had to cut a little piece of drywall out so I could drill holes and run the line all the way through. But I installed an outlet in there. It's kind of
I could use you here. My apartment only has 1 outlet in the kitchen. And so everything feeds into that, and like I can't run certain appliances together or they blow the circuit.
Yeah,
it's like 15 amps.
I mean, it's kind of scary. I'm afraid of dying. I was afraid of dying, I guess, when I was doing that first one. But just learning how to do it is good. It's just.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good to have a fear of dying when you're working with
Then you make sure that you really do the research
power,
you need to before you go through with it. And I guess it also helps that my father-in-law he's a retired electrician, so I can ask him anything if I need to. He had his own business, so that does help a lot. But I mean, I decided just to do it.
I learned how to solder in high school, and then I've been unlearning everything I learned since. And I think Voltar's videos are the most helpful to me for learning how to do just putting on his Duo, the one I point people toward is his Duo recap video, I think it was. It just has all of the skills of soldering for video games in one video. You have hot air rework, I think. SMD caps, through-hole caps, everything in that. And you get to see it done to perfection instead of just I looked up a video on how to solder or something, So it's a cool age to live in.
Does anybody have anything that they want me to play? I'll take whatever comes up here. Whatever the first one I see. If it's something that I have. Gaming Blows really wanted me to play, Wale Golf.
Ooh, NES?
No, on the N64. That's, I think, why he was asking about the N64.
Oh, okay.
I saw Neo Turf Masters. I can do that.
There you go. I've been gearing up here for the 486 core because I have all this computer stuff coming in, and so now I'm thinking about the MiSTer side of things. I just got this in the other day, a RAFnet game port to USB converter, which allows you to use any old PC peripherals in USB, like grab a gamepad. Mm-hmm. I just did a video on this.
Oh, yeah.
Like a suicide video, basically. I knew it wasn't going to be popular,
but
it underperformed even compared to what I thought. But it was fun. And this will allow me to plug in, I've got some joysticks here. I'm getting into PC joysticks lately. Once I got my first one in. Oh, let me dig this out. Thrustmaster Pro. Do you remember these?
Oh, yeah. Did I have what Thrustmaster did I have? I remember playing, Descent Free Space 2.
Yeah. And so I got this my very first. This is a bad joystick. Could be your first one because this thing is so awesome. It's like solid metal. This is the pro level one. They made in USA, and I got this for like $20. It's obscenely good quality, and so I'm like, wow, these joysticks are cool. And then I got the next one. I got this for Descent, actually, now that you mention it, is the Microsoft Sidewinder, which is a 4-way directional joystick, but it also twists, which is big for... it was basic. This is like the Descent stick. Actually, there's one model below this that people use for Descent, which I actually have.
So you could rotate in place, right?
Yeah. So you can rotate as you're going. So it gives you a real 3D control. And then I also now have the force feedback version of this coming. I got a really good deal on that. I tweeted out the other day, when I opened this one up to clean it, it has employee signatures all over the bottom panel inside, which I thought was really cool. Kind of molded into the plastic.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm gearing up for that 486.
Oh. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. Oh, it tells me where I need to hit it. There it goes.
My guilty pleasure in life are the Tiger Woods PGA Tour golf games. Do you like those?
I've only played... It was like an early 2000s one that I played. I mean, I like the Hot Shots golf. I mean, I feel that most golf games are played the exact same way almost.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that I'm just not very good at this. I say that, and then how come I can't do good at this one?
Gaming Blows gave you $2 and said golf.
Golf. Heck yeah. Oh, right in the bunker. I mean, I played, what is the Hot Shots Golf Open Tee on the PSP quite a bit. Enough to finish it.
Cool. This game has a real cult following.
Yeah. I mean, if I saw a cartridge of this, I would definitely probably buy it.
Yeah. Is this 4 players?
I think it's 2. Unless, I mean, I don't know.
It's not a big concern for me because I'll never be in a room with 4 other people who want to play this game. But I like that it's there.
Do you think that there will be I mean, that's one thing I've wondered about, is if there will be a Neo Geo Pocket core or a Atari Lynx core.
I would think that we'll get both of those eventually. There's nobody working on them. Lynx has a lot of overlap with stuff that are already in other cores, I believe. I would love that too.
I thought I heard somebody saying that the Lynx screen was like 75 hertz or something like that, which might be like... Everyone was wondering how they're going to do it with the
yeah, I don't know.
with the analog pocket.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing with DOS too. DOS is mostly 70 hertz, and so playing it on HDMI screens can be a problem. Yeah, there's always these tricky little things when you're dealing with hardware perfect versions of things. I had Lynxes back in the day that I'd gotten at a garage sale, 2 of them.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I liked it. I liked the Rampage a lot that was on it, and All Points Bulletin APB. Those are my 2 jams.
I mean, I had a Lynx when I was a kid. I had a Lynx instead of a Game Boy, and
mm-hmm. I got a Game
Boy
Boy really late.
I had Blue Lightning. I liked Red Baron a lot.
I've got Blue Lightning for the Jaguar CD here, I think.
Oh yeah, is it?
I haven't played it yet. Haven't fired it up.
I think I talked a little bit about California Games in the magazine read-through that I did with Classic Gaming Quarterly of Sega Visions 1. We were talking about how I didn't really play. I only played the Lynx version and the Commodore 64 version of California Games.
I saw Chris in the chat at the very beginning of the stream. I don't know if he's still around.
Gates of Zendikon was okay. I may have had that one. A lot of the games I don't even remember what I had. I really liked Electro Cop. I still remember the music from it.
Yeah, mine came with like a Ziploc bag of games, and there was a Batman game, but I don't remember liking it. What else? Yeah, it's hard to remember because I remember specifically APB and Rampage. Even taking, I remember playing Rampage in like study halls, so I took that to school with me apparently.
I look at that parallax. That's kind of awesome. We can do this better here.
It's a great looking game.
Oh,
very nice.
I thought I was going in again. But yeah, the Batman Returns on the Lynx I never really played. I heard that it was like impossible almost for some people to beat the first enemy in it or something. It was weird.
That sounds right. I don't remember it at all, except that I remember liking the cartridge but not playing the game. Mike Sherry said, give you $2 and said, I have no issues with DOSBox on my 40-inch Samsung TV. DOSBox, though, won't be... It's not the same. So DOSBox is a software version, which is what I have always used on my computer here, like to play SimCity 2000. And that's totally different than what MiSTer will be, where we have an FPGA CPU, basically, implementation of the whole computer. And so that's where 70 hertz could be more of a problem. Well, I mean, what you can do is you can set MiSTer's sync to 60 hertz, but it'll just be a little bit choppy, basically.
You can still buy a complete in box new old school Lynx games for a reasonable price. I found that with Jaguar CD Games, weirdly enough, like $9 shipped for what did I get? Space Ace and Dragon's Lair. Brand new. Sealed. Really?
There's all this Atari stuff on eBay. Yeah. I'm going to unbox those or something in a stream.
I'm going to play California Games on the Genesis.
There's an INI setting, if that how it goes to a double line when they're scrolling. That drove me nuts at some point. I forget what. There's an INI setting you can change to get rid of that when you're scrolling through the game names on MiSTer.
Wait, so that what happens?
Do you see how like games with long names, it will go from a single line to a double line when you're scrolling?
Right.
That kept tripping me up. I
So
forget.
you can make it so it just like scrolls.
Yeah. Where it doesn't go into two bars like that.
I'll tell you one thing is that my experience with the MiSTer and just like changing stuff improved immensely as soon as I got the little Wi-Fi dongle and I could just like FTP into it.
Yeah.
Instead of having to constantly take out the SD card, and because every time you put the SD card in your PC, it like pops up with a million windows.
Yeah. Yeah, my setup here, I'm the same way. I do little things with Wi-Fi, and then I have a USB hard drive, and I just pull the wire and plug that into my PC to transfer big things.
It makes sense. I mean, it changed. I mean, there's like so many little things that have gotten better, I guess, in recent years. It's interesting thinking about when I first set it up and we streamed. It was like a couple of years ago. It was pretty difficult at the time, and how much it's improved since then. Yeah, but
the first big step forward was that update script.
Yes.
Really changed everything for me, and now there's basically just scripts for everything that make it so easy. Yeah, it went from being moderately hard, or at least you had to read quite a bit to do any little thing, to being relatively logical, I think, if you're sort of handy.
I feel like this is like impossible.
Oh, you know what I saw the other day? Have you ever seen an electric surfboard?
No.
Yeah, they make electric. You know how there's like electric scooters?
Right.
There was a guy zipping around in the bay yesterday with an electric surfboard, and I was like, I could get down with that. And you can even it's like a surfboard with like a trolling motor. It looks like underneath it that goes down into the waterways, and he could even get up on it, like coming out of the water, like 6 inches or so. It almost looks like he's floating. It's a crazy age to be alive in now.
That's one thing that I miss about since moving to this new house. We don't have any of the electric scooters around. You know, like do you have like the birds there and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the lime is it lime? Is the other kind? Is the other one?
Yeah, there was like 4 or 5 companies. They were when I first moved here a year ago. It was huge,
Mm-hmm.
and then they banned them from sidewalks, I think. And then
What?
since then, there was the boardwalk and the sidewalks were just. I mean, because I live in a touristy area, it was flocks of people on scooters, and someone got hurt or something, and it led the city to ban them on the boardwalks and sidewalks here. And so after that, you see them maybe here and there, but it's not like not like 10 at a time passing you by.
Someone requested this game. I've never played it before.
Which one?
Is it
Oh yeah,
Motor Racer Advance?
I think somebody requested this to me too at one point. It's kind of an impressive, almost PlayStation looking game. Unless I'm thinking of something else.
Oh, wrong button. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool.
Like a Mode 7 game.
Yeah, but with hills. That's always not as big of a deal, I guess, on the Game Boy Advance.
I take it you were really big into the Game Boy Advance, probably.
I mean, I did buy it at launch. I was pretty excited about it, and it was an interesting year because I went to E3 that year, like right before it came out.
What year was that?
That would have been 2001.
Okay.
And then it came out a couple months after that. I even have like I don't know if I can reach it, that I got from that E3 that I still have. I'll see if I can grab it. Should be right up here.
Cool.
Is it's well worn at this point. It's like this Game Boy Advance, but it's like a squishy thing.
I'll have to wait for the stream to catch up here.
Yeah, it's like a squishy Game Boy Advance. I used to have a GameCube.
Oh, cool.
But I sold that on eBay when I was trying to raise money to move to New York City.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept this one, so it's like,
that's cool.
It's kind of destroyed though at this point. I mean, it's almost 20 years old.
It's been well loved.
Yeah.
You'll have to have a soft toy conservator restore that for you one day.
I don't know if I don't.
This exists.
That's such a thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this can be like restored. There's chunks missing.
You have to have it filled in and painted meticulously.
I don't know. I wonder if that kind of stuff even sells on eBay at this point.
Yeah. I got into Game Boy Advance. So my first Game Boy Advance was the SP101. So it must have been many years after the Game Boy Advance came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I must have gone online and read about it first. But when I got into it and I discovered Advance Wars, I was all about it.
Oh yeah, Advance Wars
for a while.
Great.
And I had gotten that Easy Flash 4. It might have been in 3 when I first got it. But that was like one of my first flash cards too. If not my first, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I still have it.
Oh, I mean, and that's well worth it. To still have it.
I upgraded for like $30 5 or 6 years ago to the SD card version, and it's basically a cheapo EverDrive. Does everything an EverDrive can. It's just super cheap.
Try is working on a video, which will hopefully be out at some point this week. I'm hoping. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be out, but it's on the different IPS screens.
Yeah,
and
you mentioned that.
It's going to be interesting because it's pretty mixed. It's a pretty mixed experience that I think that.
Is there one to rule them all, or do they all have sort of a catch?
Yeah, I mean, I'll wait to see exactly because it's like completely his episode. I've read portions of the script, but I haven't been super involved. And I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because I think that it's not like the ultimate solution that it was. I think some people had made it seem to be.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that'll be cool to see. Every time I get into handhelds, it's like a big hole that you go down because there's so many mods for them.
Yes.
Even for just something as simple as a Game Boy.
Right, because I mean, I think it is. I think it's like that because I think a lot of people just feel like it's really fun to mod.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I did that sort of to my Nomad and Turbo Express, but I never ended up touching my Game Boy Advance really too much. I was hoping, and actually, speaking of IPS screens, I got just recently the DSi XL. Whew, that's a good-looking handheld.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, right? I checked out your video and rehacked. I didn't rehack it, but I updated my.
Oh, cool.
Not the bootstrap, but the Twilight hack.
Did you get it booting so it goes straight into it?
I didn't do that because I still want to be able to play like my regular games on it, so I'll just have that be separate. I don't mind just going into the photo app, but just updating it made it work a bit better. But the SD card in it's a mess. I need to reorganize it a bit.
I liked that screen so much that I even looked into for a minute. I mean, for a few days, I had the idea of doing a DSi XL Lite mod and turning it into a Game Boy Advance.
Do we remember why this happens? Why Popful Mail gives the main CPU error? Because this happened with the Mega SD as well. They had to update the firmware for it. I don't remember.
I don't know.
No, because this happens with other things too. It happens.
I thought I remember you playing this game before in a stream.
Yeah, I mean, I might have played it on the Mega SD, but this was like, I mean, this happens with the real hardware too. What happened with the Mega SD? But I don't remember what it is that. Is it a region?
Is it a USA region?
Yeah.
Game.
I mean, yeah.
Are you using region-free BIOS?
I'm pretty sure that I am. Yeah.
It could be maybe. Okay, yeah. Al Anonymous is saying the same thing. It's probably the region-free BIOS. It could be. So you might need to load up just the BIOS for the region that you want to try it.
I see, but I can't do that in here. I have to change it in the SD card, right?
You might be right about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, can you not define the BIOS from here?
No. Does anybody else have anything else that they want me to play on here? I saw some Road Avenger, so I want to ask for Road Avenger.
Be good. There's a lot of good Sega CD games.
Oh, yeah.
This was a really big one, too, when it dropped. I remember you guys getting excited about this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. One of the things I really like about the MiSTer, and I think a lot of people don't think about, is its portability. I'm going to be, at the end of the month, my mom is having a knee replacement, so I'm going to go and stay with her for a week. I was like, I'm going to bring my MiSTer with.
Yeah.
And I ordered like a new like power supply for it, and I'm just gonna, so I don't have to pull the whole power supply out of my setup. I'm just gonna unplug it and bring it away.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's so much on one little device.
Yeah.
I have likened it, like if you had to get the actual hardware of everything that we have in hardware in HDL on MiSTer, you need a warehouse at this point. Yeah. It's such a huge amount of hardware. And that's why I get the comments a lot where they're like, oh, I don't need a MiSTer because I already have a Super Nintendo, and that's all I was interested in. It's like, yeah, you have a Super Nintendo, but you don't have a PDP-1 computer from 1940 to play the very first video game, first. You don't. There's just no way. Nobody's going to have both like a full MSX setup with every revision of the MSX. Even hardcore MSX people probably don't. Although maybe a few do, Vanessa or someone. But people like me, Yeah, it's like I have a real Super Nintendo, that's for sure, but it doesn't plug into my setup as well here. And then I have two different setups as well. So I have sort of my streaming and computer area over here.
Right.
I have real hardware in another place, and then I have like analog stuff on my big TV across the room. So, but yeah, like
if I'm
it's a good way to quell my hardware collecting.
Right. And if I'm just sitting here and I'm going to be sampling a bunch of stuff, then I feel like it's just a great simple way to do that, because you can jump from game to game so quickly, like from platform to platform so quickly.
Mm-hmm. And we've got really exciting things like X68000 coming that all of us have always wanted to play, but that's a rabbit hole when you start looking into it.
Yeah.
The hardware side of things.
So is that being pretty actively worked on as well?
So the X68000 is kind of interesting. It's actually from a different dev kit. A developer named Pooh and some others are working on it. Originally on, I don't know if it was the DE0 or something, totally different FPGA dev kit. Now he has come over to MiSTer, to the dark side, and he is going to bring his big update. Because, I mean, like his core is actually running games and stuff on the other dev kit, running Darius and stuff. And so that's being ported to MiSTer. That'll be the first big step. And then once it's on MiSTer, you can bring in Sorge and the other people to iron it out. Mm-hmm. And I would imagine that once all this 486 stuff is done, maybe that's where they have their sights next. I don't really know. But yeah, now that he's on the MiSTer, on board with MiSTer, X68000 is going to be a really cool one. That's definitely going to be coming.
Yeah, that's exciting. I love that.
And the MiSTer platform the DE10 Nano is way more powerful than the one that he developed it on originally too, so it should open up more doors for that.
Does it become like overwhelming to kind of keep up with all this news?
Yes.
Or do you think that like a lot of people just come to you with the news? They basically say like, "Hey, do you hear this is happening?"
Yeah, I get my news from lots of different places, and it's really hard to keep up.
Yeah.
For a long time, I could kind of like it was the same situation with like other platforms too, when like MSU1 became a thing for Super Nintendo. Mm-hmm. It started out really exciting, and then it grew and grew and grew, and then it was just so big that it was hard to even keep up with. And that's how MiSTer is too. That's why people think that I'm the ultimate authority on things, but I will usually actually pass you along to other people with a lot of questions, because it's hard to be an expert on everything.
Yeah.
Copper Kid gave $4.99 and asked, "Do you guys have any favorite ROM hacks?"
I mean, I covered a lot of the ROM hacks that I enjoy, which is like a lot of people think of them as like boring ROM hacks. And the useful ROM hacks video I did like a year ago, I think now. But I really want to try.
And that's a very popular video, which is really cool for ROM hackers because they usually don't get much attention out on the big stage of things.
I haven't had a chance to try out the Contra 3 one that just came out. Whatchamacallit? What is it? What's the trip called? Why can't I think of it? There's a Gradius one, and then there was. Why can't I think of it?
Because you're streaming.
I know.
Like your memory is
the
just
SA1, yes, the SA1. There's a Contra 3 version.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that's an excellent choice. The SA1 hacks by Victor Vilela are the cream of the crop of ROM hacking. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned those in your video too, which I was really happy to see.
Yeah. Because
it's like taking out the 4-cylinder Super Nintendo CPU and putting in like a V12 in the Super Nintendo, like totally stripped out the back end of these games and put in a way more powerful processor, like twice as powerful as the Super Nintendo CPU, and way more RAM. And it just totally transforms those games. And I usually point people towards the vanilla Super Mario World SA1. Mm-hmm. And because even people who don't like ROM hacks or anything, I think you mentioned this too, it's like, just try it and then go back to the regular Super Mario World and you'll notice all the slowdown that you didn't even really pay attention to until it's pointed out to you. And that's how it is with a lot of those SA1 games, except for like Gradius and the really bad offenders where it was right in your face.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I'd be on board for the SA1s and then anything that Pyron's done and anything that MyJet has done. Those are kind of my top hacks.
I'll be showing some new hacks, and the video that I'm working on was just like an EverDrive update video.
Nice.
So I'll get into a little bit there again.
I had an idea for an EverDrive video that's smaller in scale than My Life in Gaming videos. Mm-hmm. But I am going to be trying to do one eventually because I'm kind of the EverDrive guy. I don't really have any videos on them for the most part, outside of like SD2S NES videos I've done. So I'm going to do my little take on them, my spin on it. I have had for probably a year and a half, I have a big script I've been working on about Super Mario World SA1, which will be a really cool video when I get around to doing it. David Denuzio gave you $5 and asks, have you guys been following development on the Sinden light gun? Seems like a cool solution, but may not be original hardware until developed more.
I'm unfamiliar with that.
I have heard about it on and off. It's a light gun that works on HDMI TVs.
Oh, right.
It's a big Kickstarter for it. And people have talked about when it's released getting that to work with MiSTer. So I haven't followed it too closely. But I do like light guns.
I do too. Sorry,
MiSTer has some cool light gun implementations where you can use mice. So if you plug in a mouse and you turn on USB mouse in the GUI, you get crosshairs on any game. It works on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis core right now. And they could bring it to any core. Yeah, and it does it in a really cool way. That's like it's a native hardware overlay. So it's pretty cool. I showed off that a little bit in my Super Nintendo MiSTer video. I played all the Super Scope games, and the Super Scope is such a giant pile of crap that playing these games with a mouse, that Yoshi game especially, is really fun.
Changes the whole game. Probably makes it a lot easier, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's playable.
This game. But,
this is beautiful. This is a really beautiful game. Jay Burner said, it's demoralizing to have collected all this old hardware and then MiSTer almost defeats the purpose of having got them. I mean, it's good to have options ultimately, though. It's totally different things, right. I'll sell some arcade boards because they're big and super expensive. And I like a lot of arcade games, I got into because I got a good deal, not because I like the game so much. I was just like, hey, it's $15. It's broken. Why not?
You just can't say no to it.
Yeah. And that stuff I have no problem parting with. And the same with game carts that I collected the same way. But I'm not going to be selling, the games that are special to me or my Super Nintendos and stuff like that. Might be a good way to I have six Dreamcasts and 8 or 9 Saturns. If you were to get an FPGA version, I definitely don't need that many. So it might be a good way to solve excess stuff, perhaps. But I think you're the same way. We're not going to be selling Super Nintendos or anything. It doesn't make a Super Nintendo or a Genesis irrelevant.
Right.
It's just something else. And in a lot of ways, you might even look at it as a continuation of a Super Nintendo or of the Genesis, because it brings a lot more of these features that are implemented in a way as if they're in the actual hardware. It's not like doing it with software tricks and stuff on a PC. It's a lot of these things are being coded into the original hardware. The scalers and things like that. And that mouse overlay I mentioned and stuff like that. Each core is full of things like that. And I talk about MSX hard drives and stuff like that, which are really hard to get going on a real MSX hardware, but it's really easy to just make virtual hard drives in MiSTer. And the same thing is going to happen with this DOS core. It's really tricky to get nice DOS setups that work.
Right.
You basically need 3 DOS computers if you're going to be talking about the 80s until the 2000s, where MiSTer can get it all in one setup, and you'll just have different virtual hard drives for each computer that you want to boot, basically.
Exactly. It's just so convenient. especially like it. I mean, it's a really tough situation, especially if you're just getting into stuff right now.
Yeah, the
Like
prices,
yeah,
availability, the number of mods you have to do can be overwhelming for some consoles.
exactly. And it, if I was just getting into this stuff right now, I mean, this would be like the ultimate solution. And I think, a lot of people say I'm just gonna get a Raspberry Pi. I think that ultimately the MiSTer is a lot easier to deal with than a Raspberry Pi. I mean,
a Pi, it's really easy to get going if you just want a one-size-fits-all thing.
Yeah,
because then
if you like go online and you buy or not buy like download like an SD card image and you just like install that image. I mean,
then your Pi is just does what's there and it's ready to use.
Right, but a lot of times that stuff that you get always has like some stupid decisions made with it. Like I do not like borders. If I can just have like black around the screen, and a lot of them are like include the borders because I think that's like maybe what just like generally people want.
Yeah.
But I want to turn that stuff off, and then you have to go out like into the settings, and it can be very easy to mess things up.
Mm-hmm.
And something.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I like RetroArch a lot on my Vita, but I got so used to it on the Vita. I don't like it anywhere else. I don't like it on my computer. I don't like the menus on it, and even though on my computer I can do run ahead, which is nice. And that's what's on a lot of the Pis are sort of those sort of setups. Nothing against them. And I'm sure if you got used to it on the Pi, maybe that's kind of how I'm the same way. Like I like the Vita version. You like the Pi version.
Right.
Something like that. But yeah, if you want to go in, like you're saying, and change settings and customize it later, MiSTer's really actually very easy
it's just
to
all
do.
in the menu,
complex
and it's
stuff. Yeah.
And you can just do it while you're in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having.
This is such a great looking game. Blade Blur, hey, how's it going? Gave you $2 and said, finally I have a 55-inch OLED TV. Maybe I'll buy a MiSTer. Very nice.
You should. There's another one a little bit up further. Maybe one or two that I missed. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. For some reason, I thought there was two.
There's one more.
Oh, yeah, that was Matt Smith.
Gamerboy Geo82 gave $5 and said, getting my MiSTer FPGA and hooking up to a PVM via RGB has inspired me to see how high of quality I can get from real consoles via cables and mods. Yeah, that's the other side of things that I don't know if you remember, but do you remember when flash carts first started, when EverDrives first started becoming big and everybody said, oh, finally the bubble's going to pop, right, and all the prices are going to come down. And they said the same thing when Darksoft's Neo Geo first came out. And it doesn't work out that way. It ramps up interest with people who weren't into it to begin with. And it leads to higher prices, weirdly enough. It's like building more roads and getting more traffic.
Yeah.
Is the irony.
Even stuff like mini consoles, have like driven up interest.
Yeah, any of this is like viral exposure for the real hardware, because the real hardware will always be the real deal. And that's never going to change. Whereas these other solutions, even MiSTer, it will transform through time and move on to different platform, 5-10 years or whatever. But the Super Nintendo is always going to be Super Nintendo. And the price on the Super Nintendo will slowly go up forever, pretty much. Because the demand is going to increase and the supply is going to decrease. And consoles are going to break.
Exactly. There's also a $5 donation from Matt Smith. Says, heard of anyone working on a VR headset output to support stuff like 3DS or Virtual Boy?
I haven't, but I'm all about cool gimmicks like that. Yeah. I love a Nintendo gimmick. 3DS, I love that. The head tracking 3D. I love my Virtual Boy. I have a VR helmet here even.
Yeah, you were getting pretty into VR. You did that VR stream with John Linneman.
Yeah, I streamed with John. I did Half-Life Alyx, and he baby walked me through it because I'm not much of a modern gamer. I have to admit that. And VR has gotten me back. It's the most modern platform I've had ever, I think. I'm almost always like 1 or 2 generations behind. and that was really fun actually. I also streamed Exorcist, the Exorcist game with Joe from On the Stick. That was a lot of fun because he's like a horror fan, horror film fan, and so am I kind of, although he's much more into it than me. And this Exorcist game is based on Exorcist 3, and it's a real movie tie-in, and it's creepy and cool, and that was really cool. And then I also streamed VR shooting games with Lon TV. That was cool too. None of these, I'll tell you this, your viewers don't want to see you playing VR. I learned that the hard way.
I mean, I've done VR, like PSVR, where I'm like sitting there. You know, I did the like the Ace Combat mission, the VR missions, and I did some Resident Evil 7. But I mean, I'm not. They don't want to. People don't want to see me like move around like that. Like, I don't want to see me move around like that.
Yeah, it didn't translate the way I thought it would to streaming. Even with like really obsessing over it and had a really good setup and everything, it's still, no matter what, VR is always going to be the kind of thing where you have to be in there. You know, it's not the people who are really good at streaming VR are like on Twitch. They are really masters of like miming and stuff while they're doing it and like getting really into it. So if you're like a calm guy like us, we don't flail our arms around and dance a lot on screen. That's what VR is about.
Yeah. I play a little FX Unit Yuki. Amazing soundtrack in this game.
Yeah, that's a great game.
I think I played through this on a stream like a few years ago. Colin
Barons gave $5 and said, just wanted to celebrate that I just beat Super Metroid for the first time.
Wow.
Super NT. Not MiSTer, but still FPGA. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. I mean, Super Metroid, all-time classic.
Mm-hmm. Many people would say it's the best game of all time.
So, a friend of mine just linked me to this really amazing... This really amazing analog synth album. It's a cover of all the music from the original Metroid.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. And reorchestrated, what's it called? Metroid. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I've used that in streams too. You can use it.
Oh, really? I mean, it is like unbelievable.
It is. It's fantastic. What is that called?
It's like the. Is it?
Resynthesized.
Okay. Right? Yes. It's like
Volume 1. So there must be another one coming.
Yeah. I mean, if people have not heard it, it is incredible. It just like it.
It's atmospheric.
It feels like.
It sounds like that new Blade Runner movie.
Yeah.
It feels like it could be on that soundtrack.
But almost. I mean, it sounds like if the Blade Runner, the new one, came out like immediately after the original.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty incredible. And I mean, I don't listen to like a ton of game music cover albums. I mean, I talked a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's rare to find one of that quality.
Yeah,
for sure. And usually, a lot of them are they do the same sort of covers. Not to like put everybody under the same umbrella, but there's a lot of like hard guitar version of X. Right. It's rare to see a total, resynthesizing of something like that.
Yeah.
On real analog synths and stuff.
Like it's cool to see that kind of thing live, but that's not something I would listen to all that often. Just on my own if I was driving in the car and stuff. I talked a little bit about it in our 30-day game music challenge video where, I mean, a lot of times I don't listen to game music that much outside of games. I mean, I do here and there. What do I got to do here? I got to charge it, I think. It's I don't know. Like, I used to, I think, more than I do now. But, I mean, unless
I usually have a goal in mind when I'm listening to it. Like, I'm usually working on playlists when I'm listening to chiptunes and stuff.
Right.
And, when MSU1 became a thing, when it first came out, I got really into these soundtracks and stuff. And, like, within a year, I was out of it. It wasn't just like it wore off. It was like I became not into orchestrated versions of chiptune music, like replacing it in games and stuff. Nothing against the people who do this, of course, because if you played a game a million times, sure, maybe you want a new Donkey Kong Country soundtrack. But man, the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack is great on the Super Nintendo. And what that pushed me to do, the MSU1 stuff, was really I started to appreciate the Super Nintendo chip sound more than I did before.
Mm-hmm.
Games like Mega Man X, and yeah, all the Donkey Kong countries have fantastic music. Just so many great soundtracks on the Super Nintendo, and then you're replacing them with these sort of cliche and overly emotional orchestration versions.
Right.
In a lot of cases, not in all cases.
Right, but I mean, in those situations, you know, it's very difficult to top the original. And,
yeah.
You know, you gotta do something really different for it to stand a chance, I guess.
I do still think it's cool when they take like an arcade soundtrack and they'll put it in a game. That's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Although I almost always, even in those cases, I still just like, if I want to play the arcade game, then I get the arcade soundtrack. If I want to play Super Nintendo, and the Super Nintendo soundtrack.
Right. Someone a long time ago, someone was asking for Dracula X Rondo Blood, but I feel like that's such a typical game on the system.
Oh, hey, Porkchop Express is here, MiSTer Add-ons, and they were talking about a portable MiSTer.
Oh, okay.
Porkchop has sort of been working behind the scenes. I streamed with him when he first had this idea of a portable handheld MiSTer that was really cool. That I think he's been getting into other things, like he's working on a really cool machined aluminum case. I don't know if you've seen pictures of that for MiSTer.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I like my green case, but I love that official case. I might have to upgrade it.
Mm-hmm. And then Vanessa's here. Vanessa said, but then there is MIDI. And I'm getting into MIDI lately. I never had a thing for MIDI. And then I started listening to Vanessa was probably the reason I did it. Real hardware captures of MIDI equipment. And I started really digging this stuff for PC games.
Mm-hmm. Did you get one of those floppy that plays the the floppy
I do
disk?
have one. I have that. I've had that for a while though. A Roland. What is that thing called here?
I think it was Chris from Classic Gaming Quarterly is the first one to like expose me to those things, and like I think that Tecmone did a video on it recently, so they've all gone up in price quite a bit.
Yeah, that's the problem with all MIDI stuff. Like once somebody does a video on it, then all of a sudden it's out of your price range.
Right.
A lot of the MIDI stuff is ridiculous now. I wonder if I can switch to my second camera here and show that off. Let me try that.
And I remember in grade school, I mean like 7th, 8th, 9th grade, I remember downloading MIDIs. Remember downloading Smashing Pumpkins MIDIs.
I remember that too. I had some of those for my ringtones and stuff.
And it sounded so cool.
Yeah.
You know, just like in a different way, you know, if you had a certain sound card, you could get it to sound really, really good. Like it was like an orchestra was playing it.
Mm-hmm. I'm showing off now. I showed off my Roland MT90S that has the floppy disk drive, and then I've got a stack of MIDI interfaces here in front of me.
Hang on, I'm not seeing anything. I'm just seeing your logo.
Oh, why isn't that switching? Oh, let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, cool. There we go.
I can switch cameras in Skype. There's the MT90S back there. Right. And I've got some Roland speakers for my computer. You can see my cable monster back there. There's my MiSTer. And what's cool about these interfaces is they're for like music composers and for DOS gaming and stuff. But actually, with a USB interface, they work in MiSTer. Like,
really?
As if they're real hardware. Yes.
Wow.
And I tested out some games already, and the interface has real hardware with MiSTer, which is cool because they're very expensive, and they basically, once you plug in the USB, it's like they just think they're connected to a real computer.
That's amazing. That's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really quick, will you look up on eBay how much one of those the roll-in players go for these days?
Yes.
See, I didn't even know those things existed, and I should have bought one when Chris told me about his.
Some big channel is making a video on them right as we speak, because I saw them tweet about this about a month ago, like Lazy Game Reviews or someone. So it might be a good time to get one of these if they're still. Let me see how much they cost. Oh no. No. $200.
Yeah.
There's one that's an auction for $60.
Yeah, but I mean that means it's gonna be more than that.
Yeah, I think I paid like $80 or $90 ship for mine when I got it. I actually that one is, you know what? If you want to play MIDI music, just talk to Vanessa and she can walk you through getting a cheap USB interface for MiSTer and just a MIDI interface of some kind, and that would be way better than the MT90S for playing music and stuff. And you can plug it into Windows too with these USB interfaces. So I recorded a whole bunch of MIDI off real hardware through Windows the other day, just using that same interface.
Huh? I mean that's. It's
you don't want to go that deep.
No, I do. I mean, it's. I never thought it'd be something that I would be all that nostalgic about, but just like hearing people talk about it.
Mm-hmm. I'll say this: that MIDI from these things sounds way better than like elevator music that you might be thinking of.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think that people have the wrong idea. Like we're thinking.
I had the wrong idea for a long time. Yeah.
But I mean, even the stuff that we heard when we were in grade school, the Smashing Pumpkins stuff that we would download. I mean, that stuff sounded like really good, and it was.
Yeah.
And you think about what is it, GameMusic.com is still around, and they had the MIDIs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that site is still there, and it hasn't been updated in 20 years. Like, I mean, or not updated, but I mean, like the design has not changed. But I wonder if new stuff even gets posted on there. That would be super interesting if that was the case.
Yeah. And MIDI for this DOS core, because like DOS, you'll either have like Sound Blaster sound or you can do MIDI sound on a lot of games. And the MIDI sound is like incredible for these DOS games. And you should get, if you ever do want to dive in, like, talk to Vanessa about it, because she walked me through.
She's like a big collector.
She has a huge stack, and she's very knowledgeable. But she walked me through. I didn't really understand how MIDI worked, even after a lot of reading online, and she just kind of like made it very simple for me to understand. But I bought these interfaces here, and I recapped them as well. And two of the three were sold as not working, and they just needed a recap, either that or. I also resoldered the MIDI inputs on a couple of them that were jiggly.
I guess that's the way to do it. That's just buy things that are broken and fix it.
Yes. The worst case scenario is you can't fix it and you just sell it for the same price you paid, pretty much. Because if you paid it, someone else will pay it. That's my theory. Ace is in here talking about he still prefers OPO3 FM sound. And that you can get in MiSTer too.
Yeah, I was going to say, we didn't really talk about this. This is one of the cooler new things. Just like you have the different scaling filters, but there's like the audio filters are new. There hasn't been really anything done with them that much yet, it seems like. But the audio filters, you can apply different audio filters, for like different hardware revisions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And Artemio has been working on that. And in this core, David Shadoff, an old school, PC Engine big guru, has been working really closely with the MiSTer people. And really, this core, I don't know if people have talked about this very much, but when the PC Engine CD dropped for MiSTer, the entire heart of the PC Engine core got a cycle accurate replacement. And so after that, like a million issues were solved, and all of a sudden you've got this super accurate, the most accurate way to ever play PC Engine outside of real hardware is MiSTer. And that's coming from the people who worked on the software emulators for 10 or 15 or 20 years for the PC Engine, which is cool. Gaming Blows gave $2 and said, Smoke, what's your involvement with Analog? And I just do... I'm not really involved with them, but I post the jailbreaks come out through me from the jailbreaker, and I put them on I run the GitHub page along with Frederick Mahi, my buddy, who helps me with the EverDrive Pack stuff. So unofficial.
There hasn't been any firmware updates for either.
Not for a while.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, not for a while.
A lot of people are asking like, what's going to happen with the NT Mini version 2, and I'm of the thought that there's like, I don't think that there's going to be, that they will have spent all that time and effort to make like this new version and not release it in another way. But that's just my guess. I think that there might be like a smaller revision of it or something.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, they did totally revamp the NT Mini for the same Cyclone 5 that's in the Super NT and Mega SG. And so that's why it got like all these new features and all the same features that you've got like on the Super NT and stuff, which is cool. Oh, whoops. Let me scroll back up. Oh, Uggs said, Uggs gave $5 and said, thanks for the continued content, and thanks for talking to me about the Myst books way back, even if I did pronounce Denis wrong.
You might be talking about Try, maybe, or you. I don't know.
No, I don't know. You're doing something with Myst, or no? You did the Myst video a while ago.
Yeah,
right? With
somebody else.
Developer.
Right. That was like one of our first documentary things. That might have been the first documentary thing that we did. But no, somebody's working on a full Myst documentary movie, and it's on Kickstarter, and they contacted us, and I think several other people today, and we just retweeted it. I don't know if they had seen our video, but we did send them the video that he did, like 4 years ago or something like that. Which was
That's another one that you can play on MiSTer pretty soon, I suppose. Is that XP? I can't remember.
No, I think...
Was it Windows 95?
I feel like...
it must have been 95.
It's got to be
right.
95.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Because, that was one of the first CD-ROM. I feel like it was like Windows 3.1. I think before that. In 7th Guest are the two CD-ROM games I always think of.
Okay, Pork Chop Express, MiSTer add-ons the same, Windows 95. Oh, and then someone else said MiSTer add-on 3.1. So it probably ran on both of them, I bet. Like there were some games like SimCity. That's something I'm excited about, is to play SimCity Classic on Windows 95 on MiSTer. Because I've been playing the DOS version forever, and I totally forgot that there was a different version of it on Windows that was the same game but way better scrolling and everything, a bigger window, better graphics. So I'm going to be jumping into that. I played Myst. You played Myst back in the day, right?
I had a friend who had it, but I did not. I like it, and
I liked it then, and I've heard that it doesn't hold up, but I haven't played it since then, since way back then.
The thing I like about it, and it's something that Rand Miller says in the documentary video that Try did, where he talks about writing stuff down from the game and like bringing it into the real world to figure it out. It's just not. It's not. At that point, it goes from like being a game to something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I talked to Chris about Myst at one point. I think it was talking to Chris at Classic Gaming Quarterly, and he pointed out that Myst, because we didn't know how computers worked at that age, and to see the graphics like that and to think that was going on, whatever, the computer was producing that quality of
Right.
graphics. It was mind-blowing,
Yes.
back then. And it really did feel huge and everything.
It felt huge, and not only that, but just like the design of it, just the look of it.
Yeah, and the
was,
look and the sound, yeah.
was so good. I mean, it didn't feel like CG graphics. It felt real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like this real alien world.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be fun stuff to dig into, the CD-ROM games, because that whole era had all of those really like mystical feeling games like that.
Yeah.
TIE Fighter, X-Wing, those games were really big. Wing Commander, they just felt so incredible back then. And I didn't have those, like you said, those were friends' computers played those games. Like my computer didn't play those games.
Right.
Not until way later when I was already out of that era of games. SimCity 2000 era was when I first sort of got a computer with a CD-ROM and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been in, I guess when I got mine, it was a Packard Bell.
Mm-hmm. That's what we had too.
And I was probably in 10th grade when I finally got a computer. And it's just because it was my dad's old computer and he was getting a new one.
Exact same situation for me. I was always one step behind because our computer was like, my dad liked to have a nice computer at his veterinary clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got a new computer, the old one came home to me.
Oh,
and so that's when I would get the Packard Bell or whatever. And Vanessa's talking about Descent. Yeah, awesome. Yep. MechWarrior games, MechWarrior 2, Dark Forces. These are games that are hard to play nowadays. And to me personally, like DOSBox is not the experience that I want out of a DOS game. I tried it for years. I played some SimCity 2000 on it and stuff like that. Maybe Command and Conquer, a few others. And I just didn't, it's like, it's just not, I didn't get into it.
Right. So all these ones that are on like GOG.com, they all run in DOSBox?
No. Oh, yeah. Some of them are tailored specifically for DOSBox. There's ExoDOS games, which are similar to like GOG games. They're like one folder with the whole game in it usually, or with the image. Those ExoDOS games are great for real hardware and for MiSTer. So those make it really easy to install old games. So if you're looking for games on MiSTer, try to find first the ExoDOS, because those seem to just be plug and play for the most part. Of course, you've got to tweak settings sometimes. But yeah, then there are a lot of games that are most stuff that people have been playing for since DOSBox came out have special settings for DOSBox in them, and they're all set up for it. And those aren't always ideal for MiSTer, although a lot of the times they work too.
I see someone's mentioning the Scum VM, and I haven't played too much of the Scum VM on here. I should grab my keyboard and do it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
Right.
So that's running from as if it's like MiSTer has the ARM side. In addition to the FPGA side, MiSTer has sort of a Raspberry Pi side to it, where a lot of things are being fed to the FPGA side. So CD data and stuff like that are transferred from that side. And ScumVM is software emulation of originally mostly Sierra games, but then it spread out to all sorts of stuff.
I don't have.
Did that not work
on here? It's just saying error loading. Maybe I don't have any games on here. What I want to try is that apparently John Linneman was telling me how awesome the Beavis and Butthead ScumVM game is. Like I guess that it is.
And Virtual Stupidity.
Yeah, that it's this huge like hidden gem that is amazing. Yes. And I guess it got a PS1 release in Japan, but they for some reason they they dubbed all the voices in Japanese, which is a funny idea at the same time, but he was
yes, that's a great game. I watched Owl Anonymous play that, and it's freaking hilarious. It's brilliant, that game. Still, it is, and it's on ScumVM, yeah.
And considering that the console Beavis and Butthead games aren't that great, him saying this is basically just like it's like a whole episode of a show.
Yeah.
Saying, can I try Super Game Boy? Yep.
Super Game Boy is sort
I
of
need to-
Game Boy. The Game Boy Core doesn't actually do Super Game Boy or Super Nintendo or whatever, but the Game Boy Core has sort of Super Game Boy functionality built into it.
If I turn the Super Game Boy on, I can.
Oh, maybe it does have Super Game Boy now. Did I totally miss that update?
I said if I just hit this, the Super Game Boy system, Game Boy Color, or I can choose that. But it has Super Game Boy. But if I play
I'll be.
Let's see what I got here. And Super Game Boy Enhanced. It's being weird, but let's see what happens.
Jay Borner is mentioning the Blade Runner PC game is on GOG finally. Man, that's a game I really wanted to check out. And then I looked at the system requirements for it. It's a very beefy game. Like, it's going to be a while before we can play that on MiSTer. I couldn't believe the specs that it requires. There's a lot going on in that game, I guess.
Donkey Kong, okay. Donkey Kong is a good start. I was just didn't know if that's what people wanted. Let's see what happens here. I don't know what to expect.
I don't either. I didn't even know that Super Game Boy was a thing.
Well, there it is.
I'll be. Well, isn't that something? Wow, yeah. How did I not know about this? Very cool.
I mean, so people are saying, you can play ScumVM stuff. It's better to play it on the PC, but you can use I use one of those Logitech keyboards with the trackpad built into it. You can play ScumVM stuff just like holding like that big keyboard, like a controller almost.
Yeah, your computer's way more powerful than MiSTer for ScumVM for sure, but like MiSTer is we've got it plugged in, so and it works for RGB output too. Because when I was testing it when it first came out, I was playing it on my PVMs here.
Yeah,
which is cool.
I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. Is I'm both at the same time. I have it on my monitor up top and on my PVM at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a great game.
Yeah. Yeah, it really shows off the Super Game Boy stuff.
But just, I mean, when it came out, it was... I remember seeing reviews for it. It was getting these huge, like these great reviews, and I'm like, well, how can it possibly be deserving that? But I didn't understand. I mean, I didn't play it until the Virtual Console release of it on the 3DS.
Got my Super Game Boy right here.
Oh yeah. Don't you have? Did you put like the internals for the 2 and the 1 or something like that?
I didn't do that. I saw that was a thing, and I was looking into it, but I never got around to it. That would be cool. Querdimoto, I think, is the one who came up with that mod. Basically, you can transform your Super Game Boy 1 into a Super Game Boy 2. I just had this out for a video the other day when it dropped on the SD2 SNES or FX Pack, as I've completely forgot that it's called that for several videos now.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough habit to break.
I did that on articles I wrote too.
I don't love the name FX Pack in the first place.
No, I don't either. But it's a copyright thing, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's something cool about the word pack, because I always think of like game packs. That's what Nintendo would call the cartridges and stuff. And there's something cool about that. But just in general,
it doesn't roll off the tongue.
No.
And we got very used to thinking of like SD2 SNES as the creme de la creme of gaming flash carts.
And even still now, I'm going to talk about this. I talk about this a little bit in my video about how, I mean, the only reason it exists basically is because some of the parts were end of lifed, and and if you're forced to make like use these new parts, then you might as well give it more power, or it just like inherently comes along with it.
Yes, and that's the part of the picture. A lot of people because people, I did some videos on the SD2 SNES Pro with Coury when it first came out, and people totally missed that side of things. It's like you can't keep making the original SD2 SNES because the parts for it are more expensive than the better parts, that he could put on the Pro. And so it wasn't so much about like, oh, we're gonna, here's the new version. It was more like, well, we can't make the old version anymore, so you might as well.
Right.
Like you're saying.
And most of these updates that have even happened are because of situations like that.
Mm-hmm. And Super Game Boy support was pretty cool in that originally it was thought that was going to be just a Pro feature, but it apparently works perfectly fine on both of them.
Yeah, exactly. And
cool.
Like as it is right now, there's nothing that is even that the Pro can do that the original can't. I don't think.
Yeah, and that's why. And lots of people are complaining. They're like, "I got this D2 SNES because they said it's never gonna be, it's gonna be the one forever." And it's like, but it still works. It's still supported. It still gets updates, and it still is the one forever. So yeah, to me, like it still fulfills that promise. Let's see. Oh, Vanessa asks something. Did either of you mention the possibilities of MiSTer and the new OSSC Pro yet? Sorry, been at working on break. No, because I really haven't heard much about the OSSC Pro since it was first announced.
Right, there hasn't been any news on it in a while now. I mean, it could, as far as we know, it could be like 2 years off still.
Yeah, it sounds like it because the cost of the FPGA is kind of expensive. You and I both talked to Marcus at Retrode, and he wasn't talking about OSSC Pro then. He was talking about this secret project that he had.
Right.
That he couldn't name. So I got some details ahead of time then, but nothing specifically that could be pointed to OSSC Pro at that time.
I mean, I'm excited for it, obviously, but I mean, it could be a ways off.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Q64 said there have been some updates about the OSSC Pro on the Shmups forums.
Oh, okay. I do not go to Shmup forums as much as I should. I mean, it really just
I get
depends.
directed there through like retro RGB articles occasionally, but that's it.
I mean, it's tough. It is very tough to like keep on top of everything as much as you can.
I don't know how Bob does it. And he remembers everything too. That's my other problem is like I forget things that I've written articles on and done videos on.
Yeah.
Bob seems to remember all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's impressive. And there's certain things that I retain. It's not so much like remembering it that's the problem for me. It's just like getting to like seeing all the news in the first place. And that's why like Bob's videos are so good, especially for anybody who is trying to stay on top of stuff like that.
Yeah. ABO Hiccups asks, do you have Windows 98 on MiSTer? Yes, Windows 98 is up and running, and it runs well. 95 runs better right now, and the ultimate, I guess, is Windows 98 Lite, which is like Windows 98, but with, you kind of roll it yourself, and it's like built on the Windows 95 framework or something. But Windows 98 will be no problem at all when they're done with all these updates and stuff, which is cool.
So there's been no like public update for the 486. Because I installed it a while back, but
yeah, no, that's just the public one is very old, and it actually like I tested some really old games on it, and it is like a 12 megahertz computer. So like Chuck Yeager's Air Combat works on it, Castles works on it. Really old stuff like that, but you're not gonna, the new core will be, it's already 3 or 4 times more powerful than it was, and it's probably actually way more powerful than that. It's just that the way that it's measured is not showing how powerful it is, basically. So it's like a 100 megahertz computer with a super fast graphics card, and but because of the way that the clock cycle works, it's gonna measure more like a 30 megahertz computer, basically. And there's a chance that they can get it down to 1 cycle on the MiSTer for 1 cycle on the 486, which will make it a 100 megahertz computer with a really nice graphics card, basically. which will be sweet because 66 megahertz to me is the sweet spot for every game basically that I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And so 100 is just like the icing on the cake. That'll get you the Blade Runner and some other stuff like that you want to try.
I wonder if the third Monkey Island game, because that one is kind of an interesting situation. I remember Troy telling me about how he wanted to play the third Monkey Island, but there's one puzzle that is dictated by the speed of your CPU, and if you can't play it on any like newer systems because it just like goes so fast.
Yeah, that you'll probably be able to deal with that with MiSTer. Because you'll probably, in the final release of this, will have control over like the L1 and the L2 cache. Mm-hmm. And for stuff like that, we'll be able to effectively slow down the CPU by like disabling those, which is what you do on a real computer. That's why I picked out this specific motherboard I did, is because it basically lets me run anywhere from like 40 megahertz up to like 350-ish by changing BIOS settings, which is cool. So it does a really good job at like 89 to 98, 1989 to 98 games. And MiSTer should be the same way when it's done. So we should have control over that. But at the same time, like DOS is such a mess in terms of there's no standard and there were thousands of like hardware configurations that you'll never have something probably that's like, just like it's hard to build even a real computer. It's impossible to build a real computer that's like perfect for everything.
Right.
You've got to have different configs going and different hard drives. My retro PC build is going to have 2 SATA ports on the front. Then I'm going to have 2 different SSDs, one for Windows 98 and one for DOS. And I'm just going to switch between them. And MiSTer will be the same way, except it'll be virtual hard drives.
Speaking of SSDs, have you had a chance to try out the mode yet? Did you get a mode?
I have one coming. I haven't tested it yet, though. I just watched Bob's video on it today, though.
Oh, I didn't realize that came out today.
It's not. It's for patrons only.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it's got me excited. I'm actually building right now. Do you know Keem, right? You're friends with Keem, aren't you? Keemstar?
I mean, I have talked to him. Like he's come to the stream. He's like DM'd a couple of times about certain things. But I mean, he's stopped in here a couple times during the stream. I'm sort
of friends with him the same way. I'm building him the ultimate Dreamcast right now for his mode. And so I've got a ton of parts coming in over the next week. And then I'm going to pass that on to Jose Cruz. Mm-hmm. Jose, sorry. I always say Jose like he's Brazilian. And he's going to do the DC HDMI.
Oh, cool. Yeah, speaking of DC HDMI, I sent a PS1 off to Dan, who's going to put the PS1 digital in it.
Oh, awesome.
Looking forward to that. And everything that's happening with the X Station is pretty exciting, too. I wonder when we're going to get more information on it.
Voltar, is that what Voltar's doing a video on right now?
I saw his tweet saying he's doing a video on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
But I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. PS1, it's weird because I didn't have one, and so I played it at friends' houses and stuff, and I don't think I ever played a single 2D game for it. And then just years ago when I finally got a PS1, 10 years ago, a little more, I finally started looking at the PS1 library and appreciating like how incredible it is.
Yeah, I never thought I would be nostalgic about the library on the system, but I've definitely become.
It's so much more like a Saturn to me now than I thought of it before. Have you actually? So there's that Bedrooms to Billions has their new documentary coming out soon, PlayStation Revolution. Have you had a chance to check that out?
That's not the one that you had talked about? Some of your footage is in it, right?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it is. Some of my arcade boards are in there. They wanted to use the pictures.
That's cool.
That's not why I love it. It really is a great documentary. Mm-hmm. You will love it. And I tried to tell Chris about it too, that he'll love it. Because it's not just PS1, it's that whole era.
Right.
And then even at the end of the video for like the last 45 minutes, it's like PS2 and PS3 even. It's really good. And it is very much like one of his launch videos.
Oh, really?
The style to the whole thing, yes. Except that it's like, feature length. It's as long as the Titanic.
I'll have to check it out. You said it's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, they did a Kickstarter like 4 years ago, and that's where I saw it. They gave digital copies out, but it never got an official like Blu-ray release or anything. Mm-hmm. That's coming out I think in the next month. It's coming out officially, and maybe it'll be on streaming services too. They were saying that would be cool. It should be.
I do want to see it, and there's something about that time period. Like it's different for me because I guess I was just like a different age than a lot of people that are probably nostalgic about that time period. But I mean, like PS1 came out in '95. I was 17. Mm-hmm. You know? So I mean, it might seem like a little bit older. I was like 16, 17 when it came out, just about. Mm-hmm. So
it was interesting. The most interesting thing to me was the different ways that the PlayStation was marketed and developed compared to everything before it. That was really the cool stuff to me, because that's the stuff that you don't see really, just as someone playing the game. People who read a lot about gaming history probably know about all of that stuff, like you. But just seeing how it was designed, I mean, it all makes sense now. The reason why it smashed everything the way it did, because it was Sega and Nintendo were following these older, I would say outdated models and very restrictive models, where PlayStation came along and it was marketing to college kids, and it was being really open to developers and things. It was pretty cool. And it was very powerful too. You're doing pretty good. What level are you on here?
I think this is 1.5. I'm not doing very good.
I just always assume Donkey Kong games are really hard.
I mean, this is really interesting. It's a really interesting game. It gets pretty complicated later on, but it's such a gradual build. I mean, the game it's pretty long. It's a pretty long game.
I've never given this game the attention it deserves.
You really, really should. I mean, it is definitely something special.
Nice.
Let's see. Anything else that people want to see? Let's see if I know that.
What other Super Game Boy? See, I did a Super Game Boy video, and then people commented on it like, "Oh, you should have shown all of these different games that really take advantage of it."
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I do not know. I mean, I can boot up Windows if you want me to, though. I installed it before.
It might not be. No, I probably wouldn't want to see that. I know it won't show the core the way that it should be.
Yeah.
Shown off.
Didn't you say that the MSX core was getting an
MSX?
Upgrade?
Oh yeah, boot up MSX, because the first time you played it, I was on stream with you, and that was before this new virtual hard drive came out, which I think you have.
I'm hoping that I do. I think that I put it on here.
And so I always thought the MSX core itself was like broken and in need of all of this attention, but it was actually our hard drive that we were using wasn't really tweaked. Yes, you're on the new one. So you can hit F1 or
I'm just getting
my F2.
Keyboard. F2?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so these will basically load up 100 times faster than before, and everything in this has been tested.
So I just go to Mount VHD?
Oh, wait. You can hit B to get out of here. Let's see.
Hang on, maybe it's this I need to hit.
Because it's in the actual MSX core where you want to hit F2.
This one is, function F2. So is this what I wanted? Sofa run?
Yes, sofa run, yes.
Okay.
I'm a few seconds behind you here. It's Sofa King Great, the sofa run that you've got now. The game, you'll see. But like all of these games now are tested and working. Whereas the 90% of what I had before was broken, and then it took 10 hours to load everything.
Right. So I have all these like was it Trojka.bat stuff here?
Go to A drive maybe.
Oh, I just hit up. Oh, if I go up some. I have like, looks like I have like ease 1 and 2, snatcher.
Yes, yeah.
Can I keep on, if I hit A drive, what happens? Let's see here. A drive doesn't do anything. It doesn't look like.
Wait, yeah, go into like.
Or if I can go up another one, maybe. Oh.
I've got a delay here, so I'm not seeing where you're at.
So there's disks, HDD, ROMs, VGM.
Let's see. Which one is it? Try ROMs. I haven't been in here for months
MSX
now.
1 and 2. So I'll do 2.
Yeah. And then they're separated by MSX revisions.
Oh, I see. And then there's like A through Z in here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So people are asking about Metal Gear. Let's just do. Oh, I see that. Oh, so there's like there's a translated version of it. I wonder if this is the version, like the translation that's like taken from.
Yeah, all of the there's like
Subsistence.
Fan upgraded versions of all of these games that'll all be in here mixed in that are really great if you see those.
Oh wow! So I can
translations.
Do all kinds of stuff here.
The Snatcher translation project, what's it called? Melancholia or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's really good.
Let's see what happens. I don't have any buttons assigned, so let's see if. Yeah, this is a lot faster.
Yes. And eventually we're even going to have long file name support added into Sophoron specifically for MiSTer, so you'll be able to see the full names when you're scrolling there. It'll be really nice. Yeah, if people don't know, MSX is kind of a tricky system to get up and running this way.
Yeah.
And so what's cool about the MSX core, so the MSX1 became the MSX2, and then there was this officially licensed FPGA version called the MSX3, or the one-chip MSX, which was like a virtual version of the MSX that could run every MSX version. And that was actually licensed by Microsoft or whoever originally back. It was one of the earliest FPGA consoles. It looks like a little Super NT, except it's transparent. It's really cool. And that came and went, and then it was open sourced, and that one chip project became what's in MiSTer. And so MiSTer is the evolution of it with tons of upgrades and all this tweaking and stuff now. So it's a very old core.
So is this translation based on the official one, I wonder?
I'm not sure. It might be just copy and paste it in.
Because I know that the version on the Subsistence has a kind of like the font is kind of awful. This is much more enjoyable looking at it like this. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool way to get into the MSX because, I mean, MSX it's kind of a beast to get into, and it's just finding like the right version that you want, and then the games are super expensive.
Oh, Artemio's here, and he said it looks like Takamichi's translation.
Oh, I see. So it's not I'm not sure if that one was used for the official release or not.
And then Vanessa said Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence had a translated version.
Right. Yeah.
That's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's also on the HD collection. It came out on like PS3 and everything. Oh. So how do I change games if I'm in here? I mean,
there is a key for that.
It's not like F2 again, is it?
I'm not sure. Maybe print screen? Does that do it? Or escape? You might have to restart the core, actually. I might be confusing with Amiga or something. Someone maybe can mention in the chat if they know. Al Anonymous, if he's still around, is very familiar with this core.
Oh, there's
Ace asks if SCC audio is working. I can't tell. It does work, but there's like, to get it enabled, you need to do a few things. I think I did that in a stream.
There's a $2 donation from I Was Here saying, Mist was Windows 3.1. Love your content. Thank you. Thank you. I remember going over to my friend's house and him having Mist and being blown away by the starting area, and then we couldn't figure out what to do. And I don't think we ever... I didn't ever play it again. Well, he had it.
Are you just trying to get to the menu right now?
Yeah, I was just seeing if there's a way to do it.
Oh.
I was kind of waiting for see if anybody said anything about it.
It might not be possible. You might have to actually reboot it. I mean, reset the core, whatever.
That's all right. Let's see here.
Yeah, my friend's brother had a really nice computer, and that's where I saw DOS games when they were new, or Windows games when they were new, CD-ROM games, like Myst and...
Speaking of Amiga, I'll boot it up. I haven't used this in a while either.
Oh, you'll see the new hard drive for it, too.
Oh, yeah?
Totally revamped. Yes, you'll like this. That mini-MIG was based on the work that's been going on for like 20 years by Vampire MSX, I should have mentioned. So it's based on his research.
I think this is the same thing I've seen right here, or is this a different...
Oh, you don't have the new VHD, okay. There's a new one that's totally different. I'll have to get that to you. Yeah, this is the same one as before, which is still very sweet. Did I show you the trick to get to the letters to come up? Just go to the top of the screen and keep hitting up on your controller. If you scroll all the way to the top of the list.
Oh.
If you need to, and it'll bring up the letters, which makes it a lot easier to scroll. Altered Beast Amiga.
Yeah, I've never played it. I've seen it at a store before. I remember the box art for it. Maybe
cool.
It's... let's see.
I'm impressed with Amiga getting, like, a lot of DOS games, earlier ones, the Amiga version's, like, way better. That's what I like about it. So even, like, the Castles game, both of the Castles are way better on Amiga. DuckTales Quest for Gold, one of my favorites, is way better on Amiga. There's a bunch of games like that. There's a really good SimCity.
Oh, this is it's an up for jump game. I mean, I guess that's how most Amiga games are.
You can map that.
Right, yeah, I've done that. I had to do that with Turrican on here. I was playing on here before.
So is this based on the arcade game, do you think? Or the Genesis? Yeah?
No, this is definitely based on the arcade. It had the eye at the title screen, and that's only in the arcade version. That's what... See, I mean, stuff like this... Oh, it doesn't even have the transformation scene. He just goes right to...
Just
goes right to him. I can't... Oh, do I have it? Oh, okay. I guess I just have the... I might have the buttons all jacked up.
Pepe Momax gave you 99 cents.
Oh, thank you.
No comment.
It's because I'm playing Altered Beast. Everyone loves Altered Beast. Actually, I think that only me and Joe Edifer like Altered Beast, I think.
Is that Sega 16?
Yes. That's one of the ones I'm excited about.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I've seen some deals come up on that through time, and I always missed out on them.
Really? I mean,
that'd be nice to have.
I really want a Sega 16. I mean, I just want to get boards of it. I want to get a Shinobi board. I want to get an Altered Beast and a Golden Axe. I mean, I don't know how much Altered Beast goes for, if it's even all that.
It's not very expensive, no. When I've seen it come up, but things like sell instantly where I'm looking.
Yeah.
If you're not online, right when they come up at like KLOV, the Arcade Museum is where I used to pick up all my stuff. You kind of have to be there hitting refresh and get lucky.
But I don't know. I just have a real soft spot for Altered Beast. I remember playing it in my hometown. There was a drugstore called Phase Drugs, and I remember them having an Altered Beast, like next to the like the redemption machine, not redemption machines, but the ones that you have like the little grabber, the grabber machines.
the claw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't play Altered Beast until Genesis, so I must not. I either don't remember it or I didn't see it in an arcade.
Oh, we got a $5 donation from our good friend Craig Wan. Thank you. This is miss my MLiG. SmokeMonster, after watching your videos, I may get myself a MiSTer in the future, despite never handling tech like this. I mean, it is not that hard. It is not that hard. I mean, I was saying that earlier. I think that it's probably more approachable than the Raspberry Pi is at this point.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of good resources where people will walk you through things,
yes.
Common problems and stuff too.
That's about enough of that version of Altered Beast, though.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if it'd be possible to make because I think Ortega was working on Outrun at one point, or he wanted to do Outrun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was mention of that, and actually, a guy named Booger was working on bringing. There's an updated fan version of Outrun that runs on computer software emulator.
Oh, okay.
Massively updated and all this cool stuff, and he was looking at getting that working from the ARM side of things, which I thought would be a really cool use of that. What's that called? Somebody will know in the chat what I'm talking about.
Well, either way, I mean, if they can get, all the Superscalar games running, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Justin the Archangelo is asking if we've talked about the Nintendo leaks. I mean, isn't it? It's kind of wrong to call it a leak, though, isn't it? It was just like someone flat out hacked them. It should be like the Nintendo hack, right?
Yeah, it should be a hack. Yeah.
I think that calling it a leak is kind of softening what exactly it was. But I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's cool seeing all this stuff. I mean,
yeah, they haven't ended yet. I mean, I guess there's a ton of more stuff to come or something is what people are saying. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see what there is. I mean, if I was a bigger N64 fan, the Mario 64 stuff is neat. But I mean, I had no idea that was even a thing. That there was some myth about the L is real. I had no idea that was even a thing. I mean, I guess that just goes to show how much I pay attention to N64 stuff. I just accidentally.
Someone just donated $5. Exo DVS. Okay, $5. Yeah, the things I'm excited from the leak, I guess, I hear that there's source code in it, which is going to be very helpful for developers. I'm not so much interested in prototype versions of things and stuff and early versions of games, although some people are really into that and they want to see all the different versions of the stuff. I guess it's good for developers, maybe. I'm not really sure. I've never seen any of that leak stuff. Retro Dream gave $1.99 and said, do either of you have or use the blister board? I don't.
I have not either.
I have RAFnet adapters, and then I have I can show it. I really like this thing. The RetroPad 32 by a Brazilian guy. This thing's really good. Bruno Freitas makes this, and then I have his LL load, which is kind of like blister direct interface for controllers. And then there's snack adapters, which even work with light guns. And yeah, Clerman mentioned Damon Bright, which is brand new to me. I didn't know about that until I saw MiSTer Add-ons controller comparisons. The Demon Brights do really well. So do the RAFnets. And then Blister is very, very fast, but not like light gun capable. I don't think. I've heard some people say that it can somehow, but I haven't really. The only one that I know works.
Is
with
that
light
like a
guns
whole
is
add-on
Snack.
board, or is it a?
Yeah, they make.
A USB?
It's you connect two different things together: the blister interface, and then there's a direct interface. And I think you can get light guns. Someone will know in the chat. Okay, Mr. Walrus FPGA said Blister does original controllers and works with the NES Zapper. Okay, so that's true. No, that's a true direct
That's
input.
not. Is that the thing that I was sent? This thing has all these dongles for controllers or attachments. Yeah. Okay, so
that's probably a Blister. Yeah.
I think it was. I mean, I should go and grab it. It just it showed up in the PO box one day, and it has all these different connections. And I think I was thinking about seeing if it works with us.
And then you will need custom builds for blister. You'll need custom builds of the cores in order to get the direct interface stuff. And then you do need whatever it's called, the Blister Ultimate or something like that, in order to get the direct support.
I see.
Whereas Snack is built in natively if you use those.
So that requires a lot more effort, I guess.
Yeah, although you can just use the blister for its USB, and it's like, I mean, we're at the point now where USB pulling for certain devices, like especially the sub 1 millisecond controllers, to me, that's effectively, for my brain, it's zero latency.
Right.
The only difference is that it can't, it's still a long ways away from being light gun compatible. So even if you just use these things as USB interfaces, you're good for game playing purposes for the most part. And I'm not just saying it feels like, oh, this feels good to me. I'm saying like when something's pulling at 0.7 milliseconds or whatever, like that's as fast as you're going to get without really needing to use direct interfaces.
I forgot I could do this.
Okay, Two-Tone 8 is pointing out it's not that much effort because there's a script that grabs the LLAPI cores for you.
Okay.
So you can just run that script and it'll download them for you. So that's cool.
Let's see. I'm going to play some Wonder Boy. I can never get enough Wonder Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. You got $5 Canadian from the importer. Thank you. It says MLiG with my favorite ASRM YouTuber. Nice. Is that Sega Arcade System Core Public? It is. And if you get the retro-driven script, it'll install it.
There's also a script by A. Moore that's like an all-in-one. It's the exact same sort of thing, I think. So there's like 2 different scripts that do that same sort of thing.
Oh, okay. I think
I've actually never used any of those because I did something really insane. I just put on my extra, because I have a 1 terabyte hard drive and it's just sitting there empty. I just put the entire MAME on it. And so I never have to download anything for arcade stuff. It's just, everything's just there on the external.
I put the entire MAME thing on here too, but you need like the cores. The thing I like about
the cores and the MRAs, yeah.
Like the retro driven will like store everything into the folders they should be in and stuff.
Cool.
So I don't know if I've talked to you about this. I talked to Undamned about it the other day. I have this big swath of bare wall like down here, and I wasn't sure what to do. I didn't want to like hang up any more like pictures. I was thinking, I wonder if I could just like put a bunch of arcade marquees there, and I think that'd be kind of interesting looking.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And I was going online, and I specifically want like the plexiglass kind.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have
get them backlit too or something.
Well, no, I just put them against the wall. Just like hang them like edge to edge, and just like make kind of a wallpaper out of it, I guess. But of the plexiglass, and it wouldn't have to be illuminated or anything.
Oh crap! Hold on 1 second. I might have something for you. Hold on. Let me look at something.
Mm-hmm. Look at those little legs. Those little Wonder Boy legs. Look at them. Oh.
Okay, I found my my cardboard thing full of marquees here, and I just remembered that I might have one that you might like. Let me see. Is it here?
I'm all excited to see what it's gonna be now.
It's not this one. This is Superman. I've got the Superman arcade PCB.
Did you had the Superman game, arcade game?
Yeah, I've got that. Mm-hmm.
That's a really good game.
Yeah, it's great. I would love to have that on MiSTer. All right, I need to dig through my storage unit because I have a Street Fighter Alpha marquee somewhere.
Oh man.
I know I do. I need to dig that out. It's not here with my other marquees. But I'll pass that along to you if I can find it.
Yeah, I'm super interested. I was looking at some of them on eBay, and there's definitely a bunch of them for sale. And it's not so much that they're expensive themselves; it's the shipping is always expensive. It seems like. Yeah. But I wonder if you just buy a bunch from the same person, if they just pack them all together. But I was watching like a Space Harrier one go, but it like ended up selling for like $125 for some reason. But I'm watching a Quartet one because I'm a big Quartet fan. So
that'd be cool. You could post a want to buy ad at KLOV forums. It'd be worth registering to do that. That's if you're looking for specific ones. I mean.
Yeah. Like I mean, the reason I thought about it is because you should Google what it looks like. Is the marquee for Wonder Boy is like the worst marquee I think I've ever seen.
Let's see. Oh geez, yeah, that's horrible.
but it's so bad that I almost want it because it's so bad.
I like his hair.
I mean, it's barely a drawing.
That's a good one. There's some of the Konami games have really bad art. I
always think of like the ads and stuff, like the one.
Crime Fighters. The Crime Fighters arcade cabinet has some hilarious. It's just like they got some guys in and they're like, we're gonna turn you into punks right now.
Yeah.
Some clearly like office type people.
Well, the Quartet one I'm looking at is like it's certainly not amazing or anything, but there is I like it, and it's not that expensive. It's like $20, and it doesn't seem like anyone else. I'm just like,
oh, yeah, that's a nice one.
I seen one. I saw one for Quartet 2 as well, but which is the same thing as the first one, except for it's 4 players.
Are you going to get just for games that you have, or are you just going to get some for games that you love?
I would just get them for all games that I love. I mean, I would love to eventually get all the games of ones, like get ones for all the games that I have. So I mean, that would make sense. I mean, I already have Karnoff, and I have the Karnoff PCB, but I would still need. I don't know how often a Thunder Fox marquee will pop up.
Yeah, you might have to dig around for that.
Yeah, but Final Fight's pretty common. But I mean, that's getting more and more popular. But I have this big wall space. I thought it'd be really fun to just do that with it instead of like just putting up another framed poster or something.
Yeah, they are really high quality, and some of them are screen printed. And I mean, like the Superman one is really nice. Just the quality of the art itself.
Right.
And it's legitimate, so it's not just like getting a new poster. Although older posters are pretty cool.
Yeah, but I just have enough things like already hanging like posters here, so I thought that'd be more fun to do, and it'd be something interesting for like a background. It's like it would be like right here, like this whole area right here.
That's next perfect. To me. And you were talking about getting an arcade cabinet.
I really want to
eventually
get a like an Astro City. Because I have a spot.
Welcome to the club.
It's like right over there. It's like perfect size for it. So that is my eventual hope and dreams to get one.
Somebody needs to just help you track it down. I mean, with all of your followers, somebody should be able to find you one for a good price.
When I talked to Jose at Retrode Create, he had mentioned that he has some contacts and could easily help me. It's just that I don't have the extra $1,000 right now that it would cost to do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the big thing. Oh.
And it's a can of worms that you're going to open the minute you get it, I'm sure, from what I hear usually.
But I mean, I just want something I can put my existing boards into. And
it's perfect.
Yeah.
Astro City is perfect.
It would just
6 buttons.
I would order one of the Taito Hay stools for it, and it's just like a space for it, and like I don't even know. I would have nothing left to do down here. I would never want to leave. I mean, I already don't want to leave, but
Yeah, I've given up the hope of getting in a cab, at least for a while, because of my space situation, and I filled it up with other junk here. So, but that would be the ultimate. Would be a candy cab style one, like Astro City or something.
Yeah.
Chris has that beautiful one. Did you see his video recently?
Great. Yeah, it's
so
awesome.
Cool.
It's awesome.
And it's just so good looking too. The Astro City, the neon green and pink and everything and yellow.
Yep. And my kids would love it too, I think.
Definitely.
I'm gonna play one more thing. I think the Arkanoid just came out. Arkanoid core just came out, or was just updated. I think.
Yeah, we have an Ace was in the chat. That's his baby.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't realize. I saw him post about it on the Discord.
I have a box. I have all the parts to make a really nice rotary spinner controller, specifically for Arkanoid on MiSTer, and I just need to get around to doing it. It's in like my list of projects. Raphael Zig gave 500 yen.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'll play something CPS1. I'll play some Captain Commando then. I'll use my 500 yen.
He said, what are your thoughts on the Syndom light gun from Mono Displays? It's shipping next month, apparently. By the way, love your content, guys. Keep it up. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. We don't really know a whole lot about it, Coury and I. But
I wish I'm interested to learn more. Oh, Time Pilot.
Hey, Ace is still here. Yeah, Ace sent me a preview of his Time Pilot Core 84. Really cool game. Really good looking, especially for 1984.
Let me just define my buttons here. Left, down, up. I'm going to probably have to redo that. Make Captain Commando himself.
What is... Oh, this is CPS1, yeah.
Yeah. I went back to the start, I guess.
Very cool. Really impressive game.
Yeah. It is. I mean, I only played this like once or twice before.
I've never played this before MiSTer. I don't even know if I played it on MiSTer. Maybe I did in my CPS1 stream. I can't remember.
I played it at the arcade in Erie, Pennsylvania. Back when arcades were packed all the time. And you'd always go because you want to see if the new version of Street Fighter 2 was out.
Uh-huh.
That's the other one I really want. Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition is my favorite. I don't know if we talked about that yet. And that's like the Street Fighter 2 game that got me in the Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one I want to have.
I have a bootleg of that. It's a really cool bootleg, actually. An M Street 6 bootleg is one I've got. And I even updated all of the like generic parts on it to real Yamaha audio chips and things like that.
Really?
It was cheap. It's very cheap board. So it was, for the money, it was good.
That's a cool like extra project though to do.
Mm-hmm. And it was my response to my CPS1 breaking was getting this bootleg board because the bootlegs were so much easier to work on and dependable and everything. But now with MiSTer, it's really redundant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but still. I mean, I should actually play Street Fighter 2 since it's I used it in the thumbnail for the stream. I haven't even played it. And
we don't have Champion Edition. Or do we have Champion Edition?
Oh, yeah.
On MiSTer yet? Okay,
yeah,
Champion Edition's there.
I mean, it's got a...
That's CPS 1.5. I guess that's what I call it.
Well, I mean, World Warrior Championship Edition, Hyper Fighting, and Street Fighter 0 is the 1.5. I should play that. I haven't tried it. I'll try the Street Fighter Alpha.
Yeah, I had no idea that they had backported these CPS2 games. That's really cool. There's a few of them.
Yeah, I mean, I've never tried it. Is it? I think this is the only one though, isn't it?
I thought there were more. Maybe you're right. Someone in the chat will know. I'm passing all questions, all complicated questions today. I'm passing out of the chat, and they seem to be answering them so far. So this is a game you're going to be more familiar with pretty soon.
Yeah. You sent me a CPS2 version from your. It was just in your storage unit, right?
It's one of my last. I don't need CPS2 games anymore because I did get the multi at one point. I sold off 2 games when I first got the multi to pay for it, and then I had Marvel vs. Capcom, a really cool black. It's called the black box version. It's a big metal black box that has like the A board and the B board inside of it. Just for a few games came out like that. That funded most of my multi, and then I had a few games left over. Like I think Street Fighter Alpha might have been my very last B board you might be getting, unless there's another one poking around somewhere.
That's going to be my first CPS2 game. I have an A board. But
you told me that, and I was like, we got to do something about that because the A board that's having an A board is usually the hard part, I guess, and then finding B boards used to be easy. I don't really know what it's like nowadays, but.
And you had mentioned that you changed the battery in like
2015, yeah.
Okay.
August 2015, and theoretically it's good until 2025, but it might be good just for a very long time because the original battery was still good in it when I got it. If that died, I just said contact Undamned and see if he'll maybe do that really nice keyless mod to it so that it never needs a battery again.
Oh, okay.
So if you ever get a suicide from the battery dying, 10 years from now, that's the way to go.
Okay. I mean, that's the guy I was visiting with yesterday. He, what did he bring back? He restored one of them. He was like able to Phoenix it, but he also had a version of
Phoenixing's different though.
Okay, so that's
Phoenixing was the old way of doing it, less than ideal way. That was like a hacked up ROM that you would put on that bypassed the encryption.
Okay.
The new way of doing it, it basically automatically writes the key at boot for you without needing a battery every time. Or it decrypts the game, I should say. So it's exactly the same as real hardware, and there's like no change to the game or anything, and you could still use it for Twin Galaxy scores and everything like that. And it's permanent. And that's all like Undamned and a big group of people worked really hard on that. I think Artemio might have contributed to that. Yeah.
So that might have been the thing that he was doing because he...
Yeah, it was, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, the guy that I visited yesterday, he like made this thing that he was able to revive a board using it.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
But he had like a version of Punisher CPS2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a conversion of Punisher that you can run on the multi-cart. It's sort of...
Oh, okay.
It was never finished, but it works.
Oh, okay. So it's never been finished, huh?
Yeah, there was a little movement for like maybe 6 months where they started porting CPS1 games to CPS2, and then it just fizzled out. None of them... Cadillacs and Dinosaurs started off and then didn't finish.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Hyper Fight. One of them got...
Punisher was a CPS1 game.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the CPS1 games that we have on the MiSTer, that's not all of them.
No, I think he's still going through the list.
Oh, okay.
And the Dash games would still need to be done. Okay, yeah. Al Anonymous mentioned Eduardo Cruz, another people who contributed. And what was I going to say? Yeah, if you ever get a suicide or anything, you can do that to your board. And also, that board would make a good donor if you ever wanted to do the Darksoft one.
Right, which is something I thought about as well.
I used a suicided board to do mine, which was kind of cool because that was before you could revive them this new way. So it was kind of like taking a dead board and turning it into the Darksoft. But nowadays, you're pretty much taking a donor game no matter what because they can all be saved.
Right, which is has driven the price up, obviously, too. You could buy dead ones for nothing for a while there.
Yeah, it used to be. They weren't they just weren't that expensive. And I think Artemio built up a really nice collection, and he revived hundreds and hundreds of boards in his time. They're definitely worth. I mean, the quality of the hardware and everything it's very nice for an arcade game, and being in a case and having the Capcom look to it. And it's just a gigantic ROM board inside of this gigantic cartridge for CPS2. And you really appreciate how powerful the system was. I'm actually I'm sort of more interested in CPS2 than Neo Geo for whatever reason. That was the first multi that I went for when I got into Arcade Mart. CPS2.
Yeah.
I got on really early. About somebody's unit that they had broken the pins on, which was a very common problem in the crappy shipping in the original. When they first started shipping them out, the pins always got broken, and so I got a broken one for a good deal and then set it up, and that was my first arcade multi, and it was just so cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I would definitely like to do someday. Like, I know, because the kits are like $300 or something, right?
Yeah, and it's not that bad, really, when you consider. Yeah.
What you're getting every single game made for it.
Yeah, and now you've got a donor to use for it too, which is kind of more. Nowadays, like it used to be that you could pick up your B board for $40, and it wasn't a big part of the price.
Right.
But if you're talking another $150 just for some really common game like Street Fighter Alpha or Marvel versus Street Fighter versus
X-Men versus Street Fighter.
X-Men versus Street Fighter was the one that I used, I think. Yeah. Those were super common games. You would like that. It's a really cool multi, and it has a little screen that you can mount like on your cabinet to choose the games. And there's some really good hacks for it too.
I haven't played this one before. Nemo?
Which one was it?
Is it Nemo, the Dream Master? Maybe if it is, I don't know.
I haven't played this, but I've seen Owl play it.
I have not played this version.
It'll be nice. We'll have CPS2 on MiSTer, though, for people who are following along here and who don't plan on doing the real hardware side of things. You don't have to worry. You're going to have CPS2 on MiSTer one day, so that will be very sweet.
Yeah. How far off do you think that is? I mean, he has a lot of work to do.
I think he said 2021. He just tweeted something about it the other day. So this coming year sometime. I assume he'll completely finish all CPS1, CPS- and CPS 1.5, and then the natural thing to do would be to just go to CPS2 after that.
Yeah. And if anybody is like curious about the work that he's doing, you should definitely check out his Patreon, because they if certain tiers get to check out beta versions of it, of his releases.
Yeah, he's always got a good bundle of things that you get that aren't out publicly yet.
Yeah, that's Joe Tago. I always want to say Yotego. I'm not sure if that's like the correct pronunciation of it.
It might be.
But check out his Patreon. Like he's doing quite a bit of work, and is well worth supporting on there.
And very high quality work too.
Yes, and new stuff comes out all the time. I mean, there's.
Yep.
You know, I feel like there's at least something every month. A lot of times.
Yeah, it seems like it. And like you said, Bubble Bobble, that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
Well, see, if I pause it, you can go to the stuff that you can look at the betas that he's done. You got like Bubble Bobble, Combat School. There's the Contra, and Tokyo, Scramble Formation. I don't know what Tetris BL is. I don't think that's his. If I try to, like, the Contra doesn't do anything. Like none of these betas will like load up anything. I don't have the stuff for them because it's not available to people. It's like $5 and up tier, I think.
Some people critique his the graphics and stuff on his pause screens, but I love that he adds pause to these arcade games. That's a really nice feature. because they don't all have dip switches for pause originally. That's something that he does. He pauses the CPU and stuff. And yeah, you as a streamer love that too.
Yes. Yeah, it's very, very convenient.
When you stream your real arcade games, that's a huge problem. Trying to read comments while you're playing, because you can't pause, so you just have to take a life.
That's why we never stream by ourselves. Like I guess I have a little bit on the Twitch, but not very often. Whenever I stream on the Twitch, it's with the expectation that it's just I won't get to everything.
I just got back on Twitch.
Oh,
they
yeah?
killed my account. They said, so I had been playing a game on one stream where they were, and I don't blame the person who did this at all, because it's just one of the games you play on Twitch is like game show games, and if you get the answer wrong in the chat, you get timeout. And I kept getting all these wrong answers apparently, and Twitch thought that I was like a bot account or something getting silenced, and so they killed my Twitch account, which doesn't really matter because I never really used it. But I did just set up a new account, so I'm back on Twitch.
Were you able to get the same username and everything?
I went with a new one, but remember I had a 90-day period where I was kicked off YouTube because I had streamed the X-Files Sega Genesis demo, and they thought that I was streaming X-Files, the TV show. And they just kicked, I had a 90-day, I was booted from YouTube. Couldn't fight it or anything. No big deal. Never going to play that demo again. I don't recommend it because they think it's live TV. You can get that same problem if you play that Power Rangers Sega CD game.
Well, I got a copyright flag for that a long time ago.
And if you do it live.
No, I did it live.
Okay.
And
it could be because you have a bigger channel. But I was not able to do anything on YouTube for 90 days. And so I'd use Twitch, and I'd be streaming it, and there'd be like one person watching, and then there'd be zero. And I'd be like, just couldn't get people to follow me on Twitch. So
it's tough.
Some people ask why we do on YouTube. They're like, why don't you just stream on Twitch instead of YouTube? It's because this is where our people are.
Yeah, that's where the
we'll
audience
get the notification that we're online, and that's a big deal.
Yes.
It gets very lonely.
I mean, the stuff I do on Twitch, I go into it with the expectation that not a lot of people are going to be watching, and that's why I do stuff like I've done editing streams and stuff.
Yeah, I like that. It's very casual, and you can just pop on and.
I should probably do it more. Sometimes I feel inspired to do it, but I never actually get around to it. So, kind of a cool game. I feel like it's using the same engine as Strider. It feels very similar to Strider.
Oh yeah, now that you say that. Oh, you've got $5 from Orosh, who says, "Hey, Coury and Smoke, keep up the great content."
Well, thank you.
Thanks. I don't stream on Twitch, so you don't need my handle. A bunch of people are asking for that. I just go and I mostly just watch Al Anonymous streams and a few others. I'll hop on to when you guys are doing video editing and stuff.
Mm. I mean, I should do that more often.
I like Twitch streams, but I'll get really involved, and I feel like I should be doing other stuff.
How do I do this? It's kind of amazing. I had no idea that this game even existed.
That's how CPS1 is. A lot of the games on it. The weird thing about arcades that we didn't mention is that many games, the Aliens game we talked about earlier, never got home ports whatsoever. Right. They never came out on any other platform ever again. The only other way that you could even play a lot of them were in the arcades. And CPS1 is a bunch of stuff like that. I think the Willow game never came out. This one I don't think ever came out on anything, did it?
No. I mean, there was NES versions of these, but they were totally different games. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna try Willow. I've never played that either.
People say it's difficult, but it's a very gorgeous game. Way better than the movie.
Yeah.
I loved the movie growing up, and then I went back and watched it maybe a year ago because the 4K version came out, or Blu-ray. Oh, it's bad. It didn't stand up. I don't know. Yeah. It's just one of those movies.
I think a lot of that is probably because the kind of fantasy that it was going for has been done so good since then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, at the time, it was a big deal at the time. The stuff that they were doing.
And maybe I was the right age that it was aiming for at the time too.
Right. It's been a long time since I've seen it too, but I do remember watching it and thinking like, well, this is not that great. It's just kind of boring.
Some games or some movies, you go back and you watch them and they've really stood up like unbelievably well.
Yeah.
And it kind of blows me away. And some movies just sort of don't. Like you and Try were talking about Bill and Ted and how great that is. That's a movie that held up.
Absolutely. I'm pretty excited about the third one.
Yeah, that should be cool.
I guess that's now what I was supposed to do. Just jump in the water. What was I just watching? On Friday night, I watched The Running Man. That is a movie I hadn't seen in a long time.
I haven't seen that for a long time. How is it hold up? I saw you watch Navy SEALs the other day.
I only watched Navy SEALs because after I finished Running Man, it was like up next, Navy SEALs.
Makes sense.
I can't use the sword. I don't know what I'm doing here. But The Running Man is interesting. It's interesting in that it's silly in a way that I didn't catch when I saw it a long time ago, I guess. Mm-hmm. Just in the idea of like this of the 80s version of the future. And there's certain things you can see in it that's like, oh, that sounds familiar. But I don't know when the movie takes place, but I think it's only supposed to be like 10 or 15 years after the movie was made. And the idea that the world could get as bad as it did from that point doesn't... I don't know. I just keep on making these stupid jumps. It makes me think of Ghouls and Ghosts, kind of.
Yeah, I think that's what people say, and that continues. It throws you, like, if you lose everything, you get thrown all the way back to the beginning or something every time. Or maybe that was maybe before maybe the ROM was broken before, actually.
And I guess at the time, in something like The Running Man, you don't quite pick up that, like, Arnold, he's not a very good actor. Like, in those early movies, he's like not. I mean, you wonder how much he's just playing himself. He's just like yelling a lot.
There are actors who just do that. It's like they just show up and they just say the lines, and it's just like them every time.
Yeah, and as Blarg 2 is saying, Buzzsaw had to split. I mean, he literally gives a one-liner to about every single of the main bad guys that he kills in that movie. And the thing is, there's one part that I was dying because, was it Dynamo? He's like trapped in his car, and he's like, I would never kill another person or whatever. And it's like, dude, you just killed 3 other guys, like, before this. Like, you cut Buzzsaw
he became
in half.
Reflective suddenly.
And he's like, I would never kill another. I think he says, I would never kill another human being. It's like you just killed
today.
Yeah, like minutes ago. You've. But I mean, it's funny. It's just certain things that I just never caught. The idea of the 80s idea of a dystopian future, of like the announcer for the show is like in his voiceover booth and he's like smoking a cigarette while he's like delivering his voiceover. Just the idea of that. And you think about the way things are now. It's just really funny. And then I watched I did watch Navy SEALs after because it was up next. And what was I gonna do? Not watch it? I haven't seen that movie since it came out. I think.
I don't think I've seen it since back then.
And it's very obvious now that you watch that, and it was they were trying to position it as a Top Gun-esque vehicle for Charlie Sheen. Except for Charlie Sheen's character in it is insufferable. He like screws up so much, and he like does so much stupid stuff
that you can't connect him at all.
And not only that, but he's just like he's like super racist. like up front about it all the time.
Yeah, that stuff's cringy.
And I mean, it's I don't know. It's very interesting that it has both Michael Biehn and Bill Paxton is in it. Like in a post-Aliens world, and Bill Paxton has like 3 lines of dialogue in the entire movie. He like lives for the entire movie, but he's just
interesting. They just didn't use him.
They just didn't use him at all.
That's weird. I just watched Fight Club the other day. I mean, I've seen that movie a million times, but it's been a good 10 years since I saw it. I realize how much like Tyler Durden I've become throughout my life, and I'm kind of disappointed in myself.
Well,
very nihilistic.
It's sometimes it's easy to feel like that.
I've forgotten how good
requests. I'm just like, see if anybody says. I'll do one more game just for like a few minutes.
Let me scroll up here too.
Navy SEAL. It does suck. It is not a good movie. And it's so dumb. I mean, like at the very beginning, like they try to position Charlie Sheen as being like this, his character as being like the super cool, like loose cannon guy. And I mean, he like jumps out of the back of a moving vehicle off a bridge, and it's like there's no way that he could have like survived that. But I do want to read what I wrote about it, because I was watching it, and you know it's trying to position itself as Top Gun. Let me get out of this menu second. It's gonna have any audio here.
That you wrote as you watched it this time?
Yes. I mean, I just wrote about. Let me see if I can.
So you take notes as you watch movies?
No, just in the moment, because I was like, I don't want to forget this.
That's a good idea.
There's a scene in the movie where all the Navy SEALs, they go golfing, and after the stream, everyone should look up the golf scene from Navy SEALs. And I just wrote this down. I just said I just didn't want to forget it, because I said the Navy SEALs equivalent of the Top Gun volleyball scene is the SEALs hanging out on a golf course acting like assholes. And that's what it is. Like they just a group of
douchebags playing some golf.
They trash the place.
That's funny. Now I have to see it.
Yeah. I showed it to Chris, Classic Gaming Quarterly, earlier, and he was like, you know, it seems like it's supposed to be like a send up.
Like they're supposed to be cool.
It's supposed to be a send up of something, but it's like it's playing it serious. Someone said I should play Mega Man Power Battles, so that is what I'm going to play.
Oh yeah, that's another CPS2 backport, I think. Isn't it?
Yep, I there's 2 of them, but I think that only Power Battle is on here. It takes a little while to. Some of them take a little while to boot.
I've just had a string of really bad movies, and then it's like good movies stopped for me for you know how you sometimes hit a roll and you're like, wow, 2 or 3 good movies in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I had like 4 or 5 bad movies in a row, and then I was like, all right, we'll watch Fight Club because I know it's not gonna be bad. And then I don't think I've seen. We watched a movie called Swallow yesterday that was sort of supposed to be horror, but it wasn't. It was actually okay, I guess. But it's been really hard because like you've watched all your movies right away. At least I did right away. I had everything that I was wanting to watch at the beginning of lockdown. I got it out of the way, and the TV shows, the series were gone quick.
Yeah.
So I'm watching like Great British Railway Journeys season 11 right now. Like I've hit rock bottom. Like I'm like out there. I found this show called Repair Shop that's on the BBC that's really good. And there's like 8 seasons of it, so that can keep me going for a couple weeks. This British Railway Journeys, there's 11 seasons. I don't know if I'll actually dig into all of them, but it's good to know they're there.
What did I watch? Also that same night I watched this movie called Guns Akimbo. I don't know if you've seen anything about that.
I've heard of that. Is that anime?
No, it has Daniel Radcliffe in it. Harry Potter, and he gets the 2 guns like bolted to his hands.
Is that good? Yeah, I remember seeing Mark Kermode reviewed that.
It's silly and like there's some obnoxious aspects of it, but I totally found it enjoyable because it's so stupid. It's like such a stupid idea.
He has like a horror movie company. Is that right?
I don't know.
I think he produces lots of horror movies, like lower budget horror movies, if I remember correctly.
It would not surprise me because what's interesting about him, I think that he just like has so much Harry Potter movies that he just does. He just do whatever he wants. He just like thinks this sounds fun. I'm going to do it. I mean, it's obvious what he was doing with Guns Akimbo. I mean, it's a stupid movie, and the editing is annoying in it at times. But
did you see Mandy?
No, I do want to see it really bad.
I don't know why, but that just reminded me of Mandy. Maybe there's a lot of chainsaw fights in Mandy towards the end. It's glorious. You'll love it.
I almost bought a digital copy of that like when it first came out on video because it was super cheap, and I really regret it.
It was brilliant. There was another Nick Cage movie that was good too recently. I forget what that was called. Oh, Color Out of Space. Not as good as Mandy, but pretty good.
There's something else I saw recently that made me think of Mandy. In space or something like that. It was called like Blood Machines or something like that. Looked pretty cool. But I think that was on one of those like other like the premium channels. I can't think of what it was called.
At the beginning of lockdown, I did a Quentin Tarantino film festival for myself and my wife because she hadn't seen all of his movies. And so we watched every single one from beginning to end. That was really cool. It's fun. Raised the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael's Workshop said that there's a Gremlins puppetry documentary currently streaming. I need to see that. I didn't know about that.
I cannot believe that they are playing Crash Man music for Woodman, and Woodman has one of the best pieces of music in Mega Man 2, and they don't have a version of Woodman.
I wonder if that was lost in the back conversion. If maybe in the CPS2 version it has the right music or something.
That would be. I guess that would make sense. Just like the music. It'd be.
Is Bubble Man in this game?
I don't know.
And are you going to announce him for us?
If he is, I will say it. I'll say Bubble Man. The thing is, well, yeah, it's like Bubble Man. But the way I say it, in my mind, I said it with like some sort of weird accent, but it's like where it's just like Bubble Man. Like man.
Gaming Blows gave $2 and says Beyond the Black Rainbow is better than Mandy. Same director. I disagree. Although Beyond the Black Rainbow is just a weird psychedelic trip of an insane movie. Mandy, I still like way better. I didn't really like Beyond the Black Rainbow very much, but I think maybe you have to be in the mindset to watch that movie or something. Maybe I need to go back in the future. Very, very, very slow paced. Really psychedelic synthesizer movie. With really cool Beyond the Black Rainbow. I don't recommend it to you. I wouldn't recommend it to people, but I would recommend Mandy first.
I do want to see Mandy. Like I've heard a lot of good things about it. I regret not getting it when I had a chance.
Beyond the Black Rainbow might be more for like serious film people because it's a movie that really takes itself seriously. It's very like combed over every detail.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of time to... I don't watch a lot of movies these days. And
ooh, Blarg just mentioned one of my favorite movies of all time, Altered States.
I know of it, but I've never seen it.
Ooh, it's a great movie. I wonder if that's on any streaming services. It might not be.
I should be able to beat this, I think. I don't know how many more enemies. It's interesting it uses the Mega Man 7.
So this is one big boss battle game?
Yeah.
That's cool.
See, there's Crash Man. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of opportunities to watch movies because if I am watching movies, it's just because it's like things that my kids put on. Although, and like especially like anime, like I don't even watch like anime very much at all anymore.
Me either. I never really did though, unless it was Studio Ghibli or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was
I mean, I've seen the big movies. That's about it though. I know there's some people who really can do deep dives.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched anything new in forever, but just got Magic Knight Ray Earth, the series on Blu-ray.
Oh,
which is
there was a Magic Knight Ray Earth series.
Oh yeah, I mean that was like it's like a 50 episode show that the games and stuff are based on.
Okay.
But I saw that a long time ago, but it was just released on Blu-ray. On like 6 discs or something. And I felt like it was a good thing for my daughter's a good age to watch it at this point. I mean, she's 8.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's cool. I mean, that's something I've not seen since I was a teenager. Probably.
And then you've got the games for it too that she can play.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, here's the Yellow Devil. The animation in this is pretty cool, though.
How's the music? I'm not hearing it since
I
I'm listening on
don't have
Skype.
it very loud, but it's I mean it's good. It's just good versions of the music. So the CPS 2 version, at least of the sequel to this, a lot of that music was reconditioned to be in the PS1 versions of the original games. Those remixes were put into it.
Okay.
At least that's how I think it goes, because these were included on the Mega Man Anniversary Collection on the PS2 and Xbox and GameCube. But I remember being surprised because those music tracks are in the PS1 games, and then also those versions were ported to the Anniversary Collection.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have it up very loud. I can turn it up a little bit.
Man, the animation in this is so nice.
Yeah. I haven't had it super loud because sometimes it was difficult. And to
yeah,
hear.
It is hard, especially with Jotego cores. Some of them are super loud, and then some are kind of quieter.
Right. So it I mean, you'd have to change it every time, and you can. And that was a thing that was recently added, is like the core volume and the global volume.
Yeah.
Toggles were added. No. It's like the Wily Castle, and there's actually like only 2 places to stop in there. It's like Yellow Devil and this. So I'll finish this up and we'll call it a night. I didn't realize it was almost 1 o'clock.
Yeah, for you. It's 9:45 here.
You got all night.
Still feels early, yeah. Live in that Pacific time. It does make it hard for me to align myself with everyone else I know who's way further east from me. So I'm ready to like stream or whatever, and then I have to remember it's 3 hours later in New York.
Yeah, so I guess, I mean, like with live streaming, that makes it really tough to time everything out. That's gonna do it. Okay, so Ace is saying that Rockman 6 Complete Works is mostly original compositions. Right. Because those 5 and 6, I guess, aren't featured in these games, since they were probably afterwards, or maybe, I don't know.
Ace has been posting a bunch of music on his channel. I think there were some Mega Man games on there. Real hardware captures.
Oh.
That's what he does. He'll do 15 minutes of them from Mega Man games a lot of the time.
Oh, that's cool.
He did some captures for me that I used in a bunch of my videos for Mega Man. Because I wanted some real hardware SHVC captures just to have on hand. And he sent me a nice selection of them and let me use them.
I'm done with those captures. I'll do them again in 2021.
That's right around the corner.
I need to add more stuff to the video game B-roll channel. We haven't added anything to that recently. Actually, I did do the Wild Arms US Open or ending music, but that's it.
Have you been transcoding any VHS stuff?
I have not done anything in a while. I don't know if I have anything really to do. I might have a tape or two, but I'd have to go back through. I don't know, it's just since moving, I haven't really gotten to a lot of the VHS stuff.
So you just finished the game?
Yeah. I guess I finished on the Mega Man 1 and 2 path.
Nice. Oh, there were multiple paths.
Yeah. Let's take a look really quick. Yeah, there's 1 and 2, 3 through 6, and 7. So I guess that's why there's not as many remixes in those later games, because there's just not as many used, because they cram in 3 games into probably 1 character from each one.
So these aren't very well-known games, are they? 'Cause I don't remember.
No, I mean, they didn't get
really
in
the arcade.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's no ports or anything of them, except for in the Mega Man Anniversary Collection.
I'm surprised because Mega Man stuff is so popular, and these are really polished games.
Yeah, I think
the fact that it didn't get ported, I guess.
The second one is better. I mean, this is using Mega Man 7, like at least the enhanced version of the Mega Man 7 sprite of Mega Man. But I think the other Power Battles 2 uses like a totally new one.
Isn't he a lot bigger in Power Battles 2?
Yeah. You probably have that on your multi-car. You should boot it up.
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever played it, I think, was just flipping through games. I do a nice ROM list for the CPS2 multi with some really cool stuff on it, including Pro Gear Highway to Hell, which is a game that basically made a new Pro Gear game based on the Pro Gear engine, which is a really cool Capcom shoot 'em up. And a lot of people don't know about that game. And it was released, they released, I think, 15. They sold 15 actual cartridges of it. And then after a little bit of time, like just a few months, they released it for free for the Darksoft multi, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it does increase the difficulty, like Al Anonymous is saying. And then there's Dimahoo, is a really cool shoot 'em up on the CPS2. Really beautiful games. Everything on CPS2 outside of Street Fighter is like a hidden gem. It's that level.
I just realized I was not using any of my weapon switching. Like the entire playthrough, I didn't use a single of my weapons. Alright.
Orosh asked me if Nintendo DS will be on MiSTer soon. Somebody's actually working on that, surprisingly enough. It'll be a bit of a... It's actually being built for an FPGA dev kit that has more flexibility in its SD-RAM. So MiSTer will get a stripped down version of it, but we'll have it, and it'll probably be okay for like 2D games and less powerful games.
Mm-hmm.
So crazily enough, we will have Nintendo DS on MiSTer eventually. It just won't be the more powerful games, and the 3D will be kind of stripped down.
So, is anybody in the chat, have they been convinced by the MiSTer action tonight? I wonder if anybody.
Coury and I both get kickbacks for every MiSTer sold.
If you're gonna get anything for the MiSTer, you should get it from MiSTer Add-ons. I still crack up because when I got something in the mail from him, and the mailman was like, "You got something here from a MiSTer Add-ons?" Like that's his.
My posts, the mail people really love it when they deliver something to SmokeMonster. Because people just put that as the name that they send it to. It gets to me.
Yeah, I mean it's funny because you wonder if the people ever, if the mail people ever go and like look you up then afterwards.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Oh God, that's what we're dealing with here." That's why there's so many packages.
Yeah, well, that's how. Sometimes my daughter says to me, she's like, "Daddy, why do you get packages every day?" I'm like, I don't get packages.
Sounds like my wife.
But I mean, sometimes it seems like it.
That. Yeah, but just to clarify, we don't get any kickbacks.
No.
It's just kidding people. And I'm sure that neither of us are actually affiliated with any sellers or anything. So, Vanessa gave you $2 and said, "You two are awesome. Way to showcase the MiSTer."
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
I recently finally got around to updating my background to the Streets of Rage City.
Nice. I just use the default ones. Oh no, I don't. I have the ones by Alien PDX, who did the backgrounds for the Terra Onion stuff.
Oh, cool.
He did MiSTer ones early on.
Oh,
that's what I used.
Interesting. I got $2 from Gaming Blows. Thank you. Sorry we missed last week. Everyone said, "Oh, you had a headache," but the reason
I was a little worried when you said that.
Well, it was just
nowadays you worry that someone is marked.
Oh yeah.
If you hear them even having a cough or something, start to get worried about them.
Yeah, I mean the reason I was just it was an all day headache that by the end of the day I was just like exhausted from it. I don't know why it happened. I mean I was fine like when I first woke up, but then we went fishing, and maybe it's just like something about going fishing and being out in the fresh air.
Maybe your internet addiction.
No, I mean it was just it just exhausted me for that day. And then that next day I went to bed, I think last Sunday I went to bed at 10:30, and then the next day I went to bed at 10 o'clock, and I was fine afterwards. So I think it's just
you were just tuckered out.
Yeah. So no, I mean nobody that in my family has been sick. Although we did find out recently that our old babysitter had it, got COVID, and we got nervous for a second because our old babysitter is friends with our new babysitter, and our new babysitter's been very good about being very safe all summer.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's got to be crazy.
When we first heard that, we had to like ask her, it's like, "Have you seen your friend in a while?" Like, no, she was very honest with us when it all happened, so we haven't seen each other in weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But
I've heard of two people I'm in my step family that had it early on. Yeah, you just keep expecting every day to hear that somebody has it, but for whatever reason, nobody. I don't know a lot of people. Maybe that's what it is.
Well, we've been finding out that like a lot of the like our old babysitter signed up to like nanny another family, a family that's friends with my wife, and she got it, and then like she had given it to her kids, and like that whole family got it from her.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's just interesting how it's in some ways, like at least for me, it's been like slowly like kind of creeping closer from like people to people, like slowly like
that's what it feels like
closing in a way. And
that's like the plague, the way it slithered around. And
yeah, but as I said, at the end of this month, I'm going down. I mean, if it ends up happening, my mom lives in Florida, and she is scheduled to have a knee replacement at on the 24th, and I was going to go down and stay with her. And I'm like, she's like, I'll fly you down. I'm like, no, I'll drive down. It's like a 15-hour drive, but I'm going to drive down. There's no way I'm going to like go and get on a plane and then like stay with you for a week.
Yeah. Yeah, good call.
But I mean, I have no idea if she's actually going to end up having it because of, you know, everything that's happening in Florida. I don't know if there's going to be enough. She might lose her space. You know,
that happened in Brazil to my wife's family's. Her aunt was scheduled to have this big cancer operation, removing her breasts, and can't get it done now. So it's kind of like, when is that going to happen? Like,
right. Like what? And if it does happen, I mean, how long is it going to have to be? I mean, my mom was supposed to have this originally in April, so it got moved to August, and I mean, we'll see what happens.
Well, I hope it goes well for you. It should. Everything should be fine.
Yeah.
And you can drive yourself there, and you'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to it. Like just making that
It'll
drive.
Nice.
I'm just gonna go by myself.
I liked driving to Retrocreate. That was really nice. Just driving across.
I didn't realize
Western.
I didn't realize you drove.
Yeah, I drove over. It wasn't that bad. That was my last chance to drive my old car before I sold it.
I mean, how many days did it take you?
I did it. Did I do it in one? I did it in one shot. So I think it was 8 or 9 hours, maybe. I can't remember.
Oh, I guess that's not that bad.
No.
I guess you can.
It's not like 15 hours, yeah.
Right.
I didn't drive from San Diego. I flew to Central Illinois.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a big trip.
I see. And then, okay. That's that. Yeah, I do remember you saying that. Okay, because Chicago's like 6-7 hours from here. Because I know that when we went up to Chicago to shoot some stuff with Steve for Analog Frontiers, it was a surprisingly short drive. That's what's kind of cool around here, is that there's a lot of places that are surprisingly close.
Yeah, and you hop on the freeway and
you
can zip around pretty quick out there.
Yeah. Well, it's 1:00, and I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out. It was a lot of fun. It was fun just trying out different stuff, and I'm excited about everything that the future holds for the MiSTer.
Yeah, it's crazy that there's always something big. There's like one big thing comes out, and there's always something else that's big that's coming.
And sometimes huge things just come out of nowhere. Like the TurboGrafx CD just like happened out of nowhere.
Yep. Yeah.
So I mean,
it's cool.
You just never know. Thanks to everybody who donated. It was very, very generous. Thank you. And it was fun.
Yeah, thanks to everybody who watched.
Yeah.
And for all the chat comments and everything. That was a lot of fun. You guys are great. And for helping me out answering all my questions.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.
Night.